into 3. Hello and welcome to Nerds and Words episode 63. Back by popular demand, I will be your host today, Tim Allen 1337. Join this week is the merry band of misfits, the usual crew. The only person who holds a college degree in this group, in Klingon, Potion Shop TV.
I don't know any Klingon. I was going to try to say something, but I forgot.
Ptah!
Ptah! There.
The man who is never serious, Moreland TV.
Hi.
Last but not least, the most toxic member of Aftershock, Kerr.
Okay, dude, but I didn't even get banned in the little fake ban thing last night, so I'm kind of PMA.
Are you? Is that the barometer? So you're calling Pistolier toxic?
Maybe. I don't know, dude. Actually, I've been kind of cussing at people in VoIP, but VoIP doesn't work, so it's been fine.
So just screaming in a house by yourself, basically?
Yeah, basically. Well, I mean, I just like to say the P word. That's about it.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I'm reformed. That's the only word I say.
Peanut butter.
Are you stealing my content?
Parmesan.
I don't use even like PG rated profanity in this game. I'm super fucking careful.
I put smiley faces. Yeah, a lot of smiley faces in this game.
I don't type in this game.
I call people things like coward or heathen, but I never call them idiot or pussy or dumb shitface or any of those other bad words. Because you'll get banned.
Very quickly.
I have a lot of drama this week.
How big do you think their team is, honestly? Because it's kind of on, like, how big do you think their team is that, like, moderates and bans and hands out these punishments for, like,
100% automated, isn't it?
Yeah, they say that it's either a bunch of people that are under 6 feet tall or it's just a computer.
No one knows what that means, Tim.
I thought that was just me.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he just makes the same joke for every single topic.
Anyways,
there is podcast this week, or
yes. So now that I introduced everybody, sorry, I got distracted from Kerr's apparently reformed PMA attitude. We have an excellent show for you this week. We took a week off to kind of organize ourselves, and we have all been going extremely hard at New Worlds. As Kerr currently plays BDO, but we won't hold that against him. So majority of this content this week is going to be talking about that, but we also had a massive Twitch leak that we could talk about later too. But I think we just start off with, I mean, it's all we've done is played New World, right? So let's just start off talking about the launch of the server, I guess, and how crazy and difficult that whole thing was. Does anybody want to chime in and kind of give their 2 cents?
Well, unless you're like
story.
Unless you're living underneath a rock, everybody's heard about the queues being insane. That's probably
but we're still going to discuss it.
Well,
it was honestly better than I was expecting. That's my take.
Oh, I just realized that this changes the entire
20,000 people in queue was better.
My take is that the launch was better than I was expecting.
That's a hot take.
Because think about it, right? The launch was shit if you couldn't get in or if you had any issues where you're getting disconnected. But if you were in, you weren't having any server hiccups. You weren't having any difficulty gathering and picking up things. You weren't having any issues like that. So the servers, if you could get in, it ran damn near perfect. It was more so getting in. And that's my take. Because a lot of MMOs launches that I've played, like, you have a lot of server connectivity issues as well.
Yeah, because there's 5 people playing. I mean, I think other MMOs could have gone with that solution of just not letting anyone actually log into the game, and then the game would have ran spectacularly.
Fair, yeah, fair enough.
Right.
Oh, I mean, there was no like authentication issue, and a lot of big games in the release have like authentication issues. Then like the servers crash and kick everybody out, and I do think there's, out of the worst case scenario, I definitely think they missed a few key points that our games have had.
Moreland, did you not have an authentication issue when you were logging in for the first time?
No, so my login experience was very, very smooth. I quickly created a character, made him bald, gave him a beard, made him as short as possible, and then clicked the play button I was like, I don't know, sub 100, very close to being able to get into the game. Only 5-minute queue. Very excited. 3 a.m. my time. Once the queue popped, I got a message that said, "Go fuck yourself, you dumb idiot." And then I was promptly put back into queue, and it said 12,000. And then I had to wait 7 hours to actually play, despite getting up at 3 a.m.
Yeah, that's rough. Do you
So
think that
that's
is
my
like?
story.
Do you think that is like a few people are getting that, or do you think like a lot of people got that?
Oh, lots of people. Kerr got that message like 3 times in one day. He just kept
Yeah.
queuing and then getting kicked and then queuing and then getting kicked.
I got hit with that a lot, dude. Like on the first day, I got to number 1 in queue, just like Moro did pretty early, and I got kicked out. And I was like, damn, dude. Well, guess I don't get to play until sometime tonight. And then I think it was like the 3rd day or the 4th day, I went through the queue 4 times. It was crazy. It was crazy, dude. I mean, I got caught up on like IRL shit, but like, I was like, damn, dude, I want to
Cleaned your house and shit.
Yeah,
Gross.
exactly.
Yeah, it's rough. I basically was waking up in the middle of the night, which is pretty normal for me, in order to kind of like skip the queue because there'd never be a queue in the middle of the night. So that's why I did over and over again.
So I was 400th in the server or something like that in the queue. I assume everybody just got a queue right off the rip. And so I stayed up until the server went down is what it was. It was 23 and a half hours. No, 22 and a half hours the server was up. And so I stayed up and streamed the whole time. I was going to make it my second like official 24-hour stream, but the server went down in the last 90 minutes of my 24-hour stream, so I just went to bed. Like, what's the fucking point, right?
Yeah.
And then for about 3 days after that, every time I went to bed, instead of going to bed, I would just pass out at my keyboard with my hand on the W key. And then I would just come to. And because I was apparently I was actually at my keyboard, I didn't get kicked from the game. So I didn't have a queue for the first week or so. But if you notice, my neck is like really hunched forward. I sincerely need a chiropractor.
Yeah, a lot of people were having that issue the first week. They were just spontaneously falling asleep on their keyboard instead of going to like their actual bed. So their character would just stay in all night. And that really turned out to be bad, I think, for the overall server congestion.
Oh, you think it was a negative thing?
Yeah, I don't think it helped the queue having thousands of people asleep at their keyboard the entire night.
Well,
but what it did do was drastically help my queue.
Right, yeah. If you're one of the people who stayed in overnight, then you got to avoid the queue altogether. So it would be very beneficial for you as the person doing that.
Well, as it turns out, I am one of the most important people in this game on this server. So I guess, water resistance on level.
I think that's the mentality of most people who cheat in video games, is that they're more important than others. And so, they're allowed to do whatever they want.
I wasn't cheating. Look how forward my neck is from being passed out like an asshole. I actually fell asleep at my keyboard.
I do think the macroing for staying logged into the game is a pretty big issue. And they have tried to address that already, and it seems to be doing pretty well. But it's just sort of like compounding problems, right? The queue, and then on top of that, the servers apparently can only have around 2,000 players in a single server, which is way below my expectations, and makes sense why like only 10% of people are on the game, and you have a 20,000 queue when you only have 2,000 logged in at a time.
Yeah, the 2,000 was kind of surprising for me as well. Did you guys expect this to be a 2K concurrent user game?
I thought it was going to be like maybe like, I don't know, 5 to 10, if not more. Like, I don't know. I didn't really know what to expect entirely, but 2K was definitely really lowballed.
I remember they said 10K during the alpha, but that was kind of when the game took a different format. But to drop from 10K to 2K after 3-4 years of development was pretty shocking. I did not expect 2. I thought maybe 5.
It's also weird when you like think about it. It's like if 2 sieges are going on at one time, that's 10% of the total players on the entire server that are at those 2 sieges. And it would make you think like that's a shit ton of people, but it's actually only 200 people.
Honestly, the game doesn't feel very full. Like when you're out and about, you'll see people occasionally, but I don't feel like there's just people everywhere. Like every town is full. Like there's a couple hubs where you see a lot of people. And then when you're out leveling and questing, there's not a ton of other people around. That might just be a consequence of, leveling too fast, but I was kind of interested.
Even Everfall, it feels like we're playing like the open beta with the amount of people that are around. There's kind of this lax kind of feeling to it. When you're in game and ignore everything else that's happening outside of it. Just the sheer amount of people, or when you go open world or something, it's not like, oh, where's all the flagged up people? It's like, wait, where's all the people? Like the servers are definitely too small. And as a result of that, too, you get, these guys, these chest pounders, where's my PvP? And shit like that. So
I think that also is going to make it a lot harder for people to find groups. Like, you can imagine an aged server, like 1,000 people that are logged in are going to be in game, and then maybe, that's another 1,000 for like the 1 to 60 experience. Like, it's going to be really hard to find a group for those activities. And I don't know, I feel like that's not enough people to pull from.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like people are probably running into that for like the early dungeons and stuff, or like it's just not being able to find a group for it.
I think we're 100% going to have server merges like quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Well, they already opened up character creation on Valhalla, so people are making new characters again. That was way faster than I thought.
Amen, brother.
You can also already open up the like cash shop and see the server merge category at the bottom, where it says server server transfer.
Can't wait to pay for that.
First one's free.
That's how they get you.
How many server transfers do you need beyond the first?
I think most drug dealers say that too.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, I don't know, man. If shit keeps getting weird like this, we might need a couple.
Well, do we want to get into server drama, or what do we want to get into next?
I think I'd rather talk about the game first before we get into bullshit. So let's see. We kind of touched on server performance, right? I think, right, capping the server to like 2,000 people kind of inflates the idea. Not inflates, but, like, of course it's going to run well when you have half the population of a normal MMO server on it. Have you guys been having fun leveling up and PvPing and stuff? Like, what's the fun factor been over the past 2 weeks for y'all?
Leveling is absolutely the worst part of the game, hands down.
Okay.
It is holy shit mind-numbing, bro. But like the random encounter PvPing that you do occasionally and stuff like that is like the funnest part.
I think like everything that is not like a quest is pretty good in the game. But if it's a quest, it's almost not good, almost guaranteed.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree with that. The quests are really, I think, what's burning people out. Like everyone I know who's already quit after the first week, I asked them what they did to level, and every single one of them say they quested. I don't think anyone really has a problem with the crafting and gathering. I think that's like by far the game's strong suit. But yeah, I think the questing in this game just absolutely makes it like sucks all the fun out of what you're doing. Because it's just so much running, dude, and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's an efficiency that has to be found between like what you're willing to tolerate or capable of tolerating versus like min-maxing between town boards, just going out and crafting and getting like 200 skinning really easily, and then doing some side quests with your main quest that kind of coincide, or maybe just doing some side quests for some important items that'll boost you up in PvP or whatever the case may be. So I think we told everybody, because the information that we had, that side questing was going to be basically the best way to go about it. And then shortly thereafter, a day or two later, it was like, well, you could just sit at town boards for 2.5 days and get 60 straight away. So I think just like anything in life, doing too much of one thing gets real boring. But there is a lot of running simulator with the quest. You can't not agree with that.
Yeah.
But if you again tailor that in with harvesting, crafting, trying to feed your guild, I think playing this game alone is awful. But like when I was running around and doing my stuff, I'd like collect all these. I'd harvest a bunch of like shit I didn't know what it was, and then I just hand it to Ked and go like, "Here's quintessence," and he'd be like, "Pog, bro, pog," and so that made me happier about my running because I was helping my community. And like one night I was just like, I was burnt out on doing my own shit. I just wanted to help other people, so I was like, I haven't helped out Potion. Let me help out Potion. So I made him a bunch of lumber. I'm like, keep doing it, man. And then Boost needed something, so I helped him with something, and I just kind of went around helping different crafters. I gave Ked every crafting mod I've ever had in this game, and I've been keeping him and hoarding him and all that kind of stuff, and all the different cooking and hunting for all that different stuff. So like finding things to do and rewarding ways to exchange that time that you spent running within the community that you're in, hopefully kind of quelled that like, boy, this shit's boring. Because it would be if you were just hit auto run and just stare at your monitor.
Yeah.
I think all that's like the guild dynamics and the crafting and the gathering and all that stuff works really well. I don't think I would have done a single quest if it weren't for the fact that there were like titles and achievements associated with it. So it's like a completionist thing. But if they just hadn't added quests to the game at all, and all we did was run around gathering and like funneling resources to our crafters and PvPing and stuff, I think almost everybody would be having more fun. I think the quests are really like a anti-fun trap in a lot of ways, where people feel like they have to do them to be efficient, and it's sucking the actual life out of the good parts of the game.
I mean, that's probably a statement to most MMOs, though, and as a whole. It's kind of this like, and we've talked about this many times on these podcasts, is that, the quests are generally associated with leveling, and they're almost always uninteresting, or there's not enough diversity within the options within a game, and quickly is probably the one element of every single MMO that becomes stale first.
Yeah, I think it's part of it is that it's just the least inspired piece of content in the game, right? Like it's clearly just it's filler content that whoever made it had a lot of quests that they had to make. I don't think they hired a ton of quest writers, especially when you see how much of this isn't even proofread. And so, like, it's just one of those things where somebody's got 100 quests that they need to knock out, and they've only got a certain number of weeks or months to do it, and this is what you get, right? No one's going to write like a fucking compelling storyline that links together in interesting ways. They're just checking a box. Exactly, they're just checking the box.
Yeah. So I think we've also touched this, but I think it's like really worth bringing back up again. That this game doesn't need levels in any way, shape, or form. It's just absolutely ridiculous that this game has levels. We have crafting and trade levels, and we have weapon skills. That's all we really fucking need. That's it. Maybe attach some stats to your weapon levels or something. Like you get int or con with specific weapons that you level up or something, so it incentivizes you to do different. But like having actual numeral levels and experience and quests in this game makes zero fucking sense.
Yeah, you could have just done like UO style stats where, when you use hammers, your strength goes up or whatever.
Yep.
Like you didn't have to actually have leveling at all.
I've never seen a game so tailored for that exact system since UO until this one. Like it would be such a objectively better game if it adopted that mentality. But I think it's so foreign to a lot of these WoW Zoomers and stuff that they would make it too alien, I guess, is probably a good way to put it. I retract the Zoomer statement.
I don't even think I think that the devs think that they have to cater to WoW players, but I think in actuality, if you're a WoW player coming to this game, the levels and the questing, that just makes you more likely to compare it to the game that you came from, which does a better job, which I think makes you actually enjoy the game less. I think if they came into this and there was a unique, skill and stat system that had no levels and no quests, it would be different enough that they're like, oh, okay, like I get what they're going for here. This is different from the game I played, and I actually like what they're doing. But instead, it's like, oh, they're doing this 10% as well as FF14 or WoW or whatever theme park I came from. Like they're doing the same thing, just not nearly as well, instead of doing something different that would actually be good.
Well, doesn't RuneScape have like a skill based system? They do leveling too, right? I've never really played RuneScape. I tried and I'm too old. But they come close to that kind of UO feel? Question mark.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good example of a game that doesn't have like the theme park style leveling. And also, I've heard people say, I don't know much about RuneScape either, but one of the things I hear all the time is that game has like the best quests of any MMO because they're actually like I think it's because they're actually inspired. That's from like an old school time where quests weren't just filler. They weren't just a way to fill up your experience bar. They had unique rewards and unique storylines, and you had to kind of figure them out. There wasn't just like a quest tracker that pinned it on your map exactly where to go. Like it was a game, right? It wasn't just a box to check. It was actually a game.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree that I think that New World would have been much better if they just scrapped the whole leveling experience like altogether. Because like, for example, I've been taking kind of a sort of different path from a lot of people in the guild has. So like I've been taking the more like scenic route with the game where it's like, okay, it's like, whoa, I found this boss, this random elite in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to sit here and farm this elite for like an hour and find out what the rare drop it is that it drops, and I'm going to get it. And I did that.
Yeah, you have been
and
doing
it's
that,
like,
yeah.
well, the EXP is shit. Well, I was like, okay, well, let me go to this dungeon and I'm going to farm this dungeon until it drops its like special life staff or special ring. I was like, okay. Well, I did that. It's like, well, okay, some of the gear is good, but it's like, well, the homies that just powered through levels already got basic gear that's better than this rare drop ring that I got from spamming that dungeon. And it's like, well, and then also not just that, the EXP, I also didn't gain a whole lot of EXP from like running the depths 10 times or running Amarine 18 times. And those are my actual numbers. So it's like, I feel like I don't know. I don't know if they were just super rushed would get just to have dungeons in the game, but it was kind of the dungeon part is definitely lackluster of New World.
I think it's a combination of being super rushed and also just not having good influences to draw from. I mean, we clearly see a lot of influence from World of Warcraft and Destiny 2, but I don't see a lot of influence from more open-ended or more sandboxy games like Albion and UO, even though this game is literally like a 3D Albion. It's almost exactly the same gameplay loop, just with weird WoW stuff piled on top of it. And yeah, I mean, like the idea that's how progression felt in Ultima Online. Like you would go out and you would find a high level mob, and like you and your friends with all your shit characters could team up together and kill it. And you weren't super worried about how much XP it gave, because as long as you were swinging your sword, you were gaining sword skill and you were gaining strength. And it didn't matter if the thing you were fighting was level 5 or level 50. What mattered was, how many people did you have with you? Did you have healing potions? Were you, were you positioned in a way that you could escape if things went badly? That was the game. It wasn't this, these weird arbitrary numbers that got slapped on just because, World of Warcraft did it in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So to introduce Potion Shop's perspective of how he's been playing this game, I wanted to tailor that in. I think all four of us have actually taken a stab at this game in extremely different ways. Moreland's been kind of min-maxy, going at it hard with a casual stroll with the housing decor and furniture building and trying to turn owning chairs into a religion.
They nailed that shit, by the way. The housing in this game is actually pretty fucking good. We can get into that later.
I'm sure the pun was intended. And then Kerr's been spamming stuff to find rare drop gear, shit like that. I'll get into my version of how I've been playing this game after Potion, who has been playing it markedly different than all three of us.
So I wanted to kind of prove if crafting was viable for in-game gear, and I've heard mixed people. Some people say you have to do it for the very, very in-game gear, and other people have said it's completely unviable. And so I kind of wanted to jump into that, and I really didn't like the whole side quest and main quest, and I knew that from the open and closed betas. That just wasn't fun. And I jumped into the game this time and did the main storyline and side storyline to get the company some gold. And bro, I just hated it, bro. I within the first 10 levels, I was like, I can't do this. So I just immediately jumped into life skilling and started doing that. And so now I've gotten up to level 54. And by just doing life skilling and a little bit of town board, And I actually have had a blast playing the game, and I feel like I'm not being rewarded for playing the game the way I am, but I do feel like I'm having fun playing it this way. So I'm actually, today is the first day I'm actually working on the main storyline so I can get the EXP from it and get closer to 60, because now I can craft gear that I can't wear. So that's kind of what I'm working on as a project today.
Have you just been buying your Azoth?
I actually made tools that have Azoth extraction, and I just do so much gathering that I'm always have Azoth.
How many skills in crafting do you have at 200?
At this time, I have 6 skills at 200 right now.
It's insane.
Yeah, and engineering is
and
the big one.
I was going to
Yeah.
say engineering is like having 10 skills at 200 just by itself. Like that shit's crazy. I'm pretty sure you're the only person on the server who's got that. Maybe if someone's getting fed by their guild, there might be one other two people, but yeah, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, Pistol helped me out a lot, and a lot of people in the guild needed items, and they didn't want to go through the marketplace, or it was too expensive, or like we can kind of like call it the middleman, where we're kind of doing like old time trading, where like, hey, you give me like a Snickers, and I'll give you my sandwich, type of deal. And so
There's been. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, this has been a really fun thing. So usually it helps me get a lot more materials than I could normally buy, if I sold it on the marketplace. But it saves them time. It saves me time also. It's just been nice.
There's been a stray comment or two saying, "Oh well, Potion's not going to do anything unless it behooves him." And man, you've been such an important part of this whole thing, and you've been handing out Orca, whatever the fucking thing is called for tools, and running these towns. Yeah, talk about running the towns, man. You've been running we have 3 territories, and this man has basically been managing at least First Light all by himself, and really keeping intact with the other ones too. If you want to talk about that for a sec.
Yeah, the territories in this game I think are a really cool idea, but poorly designed right now, because ultimately the taxes get so high, and players all kind of center up in one hub, which is kind of Everfall or Windsward. And so, even though there's all these towns that can be upgraded and everything, they're ultimately all useless, aside from like Windsward, Everfall, and maybe Brightwood. As far as at least upgrading goes. And I feel like there's a lot of work they can do on that, but that's sort of like the New World in a nutshell, is everything needs a little bit more work.
Well, you had you have a whole strategy for First Light, right? Which is basically our money making territory.
Yeah. So the strategy was that, with our, with not being able to take Everfall, like we had to have something that draws people to our town. So, made a strategy of like making a hub, and so you make a hub for a particular activity in the game. And since it's you're the first one to market, a lot of people will go to your town just because you're the first one you can make high tier tools there, or the first one who can make arcane or whatever. So I basically tested this during the closed beta and kind of made a rough game plan for the town, and I think it's worked okay. Like it's I think that, new players not coming to the game really hurt First Light a lot, and so the potential gain of the town kind of got hurt a little bit. But I don't know, it's been good. I don't really know how to describe it simply, the philosophy I have, because it's not a simple idea.
So the basic, if I can water it down for you, is basically we had the first workshop to make tools, T5 tools, and we have the lowest possible crafting tax. And so the idea is to bring marketplace activity in there, because people aren't going to want to spend their ass off to go back and forth. And the tax is really low for crafting and stuff. And it's the only place you can craft stuff. So it's kind of, even people in closed beta would come there, or preview rather, would come there naturally. We made a shitload of money and I just maxed the taxes and fuck you. Whereas you actually came at this with a relatively decent strategy, knowing that the main towns of money making was outside of the ones that we have owned. And you tried to make lemonade, basically.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it.
Once you explained it to me, I was like, okay, all right. Oh, all right. And I look at the First Light marketplace and the taxes that we get from that, and I'm like, all right, okay.
Yeah, if you're the only town that has a T4 or a T5 station of a certain type, then people have got to use your town.
Right, which a
And-
lot of people would tax the fuck out of them, but instead we Potion's been trying to facilitate like a marketplace within First Light, so people go, "Oh, this place is great. I'm just gonna like base out of here instead of Everfall."
Mhm.
Yeah.
I do think it's going to be really interesting to see how towns develop because the taxes get really high. Like our taxes right now are 15,000 per week on it, and if you include the 2,500 you have to spend every day for a town buff, even if you have a town fully upgraded, you're looking at something like maybe 50,000 gold a week for a max town, which is kind of absurd because almost no town in the game right now makes 50,000 gold. So I think that's going to be the one thing that discourages territories from upgrading.
I don't think we're gonna pay any taxes on Everfall. Honestly, I don't even really want the territory, quite frankly, but I certainly don't want to spend any gold on that. Maybe if somebody wants in the guild specifically wants to sponsor the upkeep on that town, but I can't be fucked to ask people for more money on that. That's
Yeah.
I may have gotten a little territory excited, but so from my perspective on this whole thing, I've been a little all over the place, which is pretty surprising, I guess. The guild has absolutely, in every way, shape, and form, completely blown all of my wildest expectations out of the water. The camaraderie that we have, the community, the conversation in Discord. That I think Potion at one point put it best. He goes, "I'm gonna have to start writing all these inside jokes down because there's so many I forget them." I think that was you that said it. We are 4-0 in sieges that we have been at least a major factor of, which means more than half of the force. We have been putting on absolute clinics for PvP. It sucks that we're on the same side as Ethereum for more than one reason as of today, but I think they're probably the greatest competition, but we probably have something for them, you know? So as far as having two guilds be organized and trying to Valinaris sacrificed his entire first day of gameplay to make sure that we got the Aftershock name, how well After Party and Aftershock have been working together, how much Potion Shop has stepped up to help with managing the towns, how much Moose has helped out with that, how much Zabby has been doing all the backline stuff, Smash with the spreadsheets, and everybody's really stepped up in a major way. We've had very, very, very little conflict. We've had some 100v100 open world fights. Again, what's his name? Pistol Pete, his group, CC My Life, coming in for our flex team was an amazing addition that I didn't really realize. Those guys are fucking gamers. And then our canon team literally couldn't be any better. Like, so many of these pieces just came together, and it really is pieces, right? It's things and people that we met and learned in preview, and then a little bit over here from open beta, a little bit here from closed beta, and then Dank RNG came in with some of the alpha stuff, and everybody's just really doing a good job. Our Discord is so fucking active, it makes my head spin sometimes. And so this is what I really like, and what I really missed out of BDO is having something like this. The game is almost even tertiary to the experience that I'm having with the community that we're all in, which is definitely the top enjoyment I'm having here. So, in a nutshell,
I think the guild's too good, and I think we need to calm down a little bit. Maybe give people a chance. I don't know, perhaps break up into sub guilds and fight ourselves, since there's no other competition on this server.
We're gonna split into two guilds and fight ourselves.
Yeah. I think we need like a civil war to start brewing. I was thinking of maybe just stealing a bunch of people and trying to take the guild from Tim, like I've been planning from the start.
Hot off the press, Dank RNG appealed his ban for disruptive behavior that happened earlier. They changed it to cheating and extended his ban by 7 hours.
Interesting.
What?
So was he cheating?
Yo, Dank, are you cheating?
Is Dank a cheater, bro?
I honestly cannot believe. We should probably dive into that. We've mentioned it a couple times now. Like,
Yeah,
it blows my mind that that they're basically mass reporting can get people banned, right? Like I think that automation has to be part of the process, but the current format of it is too unreliable. This is being abused, and there's no consequences for being abused right now.
Well, automation should flag accounts, but I don't know if outright punishment. I don't think a decision, an actionable decision on an account should ever be automated, no matter how many people report someone. That's obviously going
automation
to be
should never be able to do like punishments like that, especially
The
not
same-
in MMO, dude.
The same thing. Jacob just messaged me, or whoever this guy from, I think it's Jacob, messaged me and said it was the same thing for him. As he was initially banned for disruptive behavior, and then they changed it to cheating.
Did they explain what he was doing? I'm so confused by that. Is it
I
because of the boss that was spawning too quickly or something?
I mean, didn't everybody do that in some capacity, even if you were just walking through?
Yeah, I don't know. They were fighting a boss in Reekwater that was spawning too fast, and I don't know what was causing it to spawn too fast. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but like if you show up to kill that boss for a quest or just to farm it or whatever, and it's instantly spawning and you kill it, I don't know. Are you supposed to just leave? Like, are you supposed to?
Everybody's
not do your
telling me
quest?
it's spawning normally. Yeah, like everybody's saying it's spawning normally.
Yeah,
I know it was spawning abnormally, at least for a little while.
There's definitely bosses that have a fast respawn rate, but that's not on the players to determine that, right? Like the players, like how's too fast, what's too slow,
Right.
and like
so the exploit is if you log out, the boss respawns. That's the exploit, apparently.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's if people are purposely triggering the spawn of a boss, but then again, like there's 20 people farming there, and one person is spawning the boss over and over again. Half those people might even know not even know what the hell's going on. Like, is everyone going to get punished for killing that thing? Because there's tons of bosses in this game that spawn after 10 seconds for a variety of reasons, whether it's dynamic respawns or story reasons or whatever. So, like, where's the line? Did they give any kind of explanation when they told them they were cheating, like what the cheat was?
Yeah, how are you not
That's a
supposed to
weird
repeat the same thing if you're not told what you did wrong?
So
And-
the popular opinion right now is that this is a targeted mass report, likely from an allied guild.
Yeah, which I don't buy at all, for the record.
Yeah, but it's hard to come up with a better scenario, especially with how these guys reacted to this and how little they even like gave the idea cadence. Like they didn't even ask. They were just like, no, not us. Didn't do it. Couldn't be. All that kind of stuff. And there's some new people in the guild and all that kind of stuff. So I was pretty fucked off that they didn't even like take the time of day. Like if I was in their shoes, I'd be like, okay, what were you guys doing? What the fuck's going on here? Why are they getting banned? You know, why is Aftershock or Silent getting banned and none of our guys are getting banned when it's just us out there? And so there's all these things that if you connect the dots, it really looks bad for this Ethereum guild. We can't pin it on them, but it's hard to discount that it's actually happening. Every time that our guys are out there with their guys, we get banned. They don't. They literally watch us disappear from the grind spot, and then they just keep going.
What's kind of staggering to me is the scale of this. Like, how many people does it take to mass report? If it's just a bunch of dudes grinding together, is 5 reports enough to get someone banned? Like, there's not that many fucking people out there.
Yeah,
it's also another really good point.
And like, that is very concerning because what is the next step, right? What if you get auto-reported a second time, right? Because the first one maybe was false, and if the second one's being false, or true or false, right? If it's an automated system, like, what's the next step? Do you get a 1-week ban from an automation? Like, do you get a 1-month ban? Do you get perma-banned? Like, it seems like a slippery slope, and I don't know. It doesn't seem that good.
I definitely feel like something else is going on because the fact that they're now getting denied appeals and the category is changing, that can't be automated.
They're changing the category and extending the ban.
Yeah.
Well, is the ban maybe possibly tied to when it was changed, and it's just 24 hours from then?
Yeah, ostensibly, right? But still, like time served. It's weird. That is the first piece of evidence that we have to make it seem like it's not deliberate or targeted, where somehow farming this boss in Reekwater is triggering something, and it's dumb luck that it's just Aftershock and Silent and not Ethereum.
Maybe it's like the number of kills you have or something on the. I don't know what they could be looking at.
For me, it creates enough question to peel back how certain I am that there's people targeting us.
Well,
but
so far it's been everybody.
Do you want to
who's
give
been on
some
the town
context
board.
as to how this drama started to begin with?
Yeah, so I guess I woke up this morning and I woke up to Ashwagandha. Okay, so I woke up to Dank RNG getting banned like 30 minutes after I woke up. He's like, yeah, bro, I just got banned. But guess I'm going to sleep with the lady and do a dab, whatever a dab is.
Right.
And hopefully I get my repeal. Anyway, that's my Dank RNG. And then I start looking through and I see that Pay-to-Win sends me a message too saying that Anoka and one of the other guild members that literally never talks, was banned for disruptive behavior. And I'm like, okay, Anoka can type, but I know this other person doesn't. So that was like big question mark. He's like, we're out here grinding with Ethereum. I'm not sure, but it seems fishy. And then Dank was like, I think Ethereum just fucking reported me. Like I was out grinding with them, and then I'm fucking gone for disruptive behavior. And I didn't fucking type shit to anybody for like 3 days. Like people brought up that they were getting banned, and I just fucking stopped typing. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is like people that were reporting other people that typed days ago, and now they're like, okay, servers are done. Let's get to our reports. Was kind of my initial thought. But then I went on Discord in Valhalla Leaked, and I saw that Ashwagandha and those guys who we know pretty well from the open beta were getting banned, and they were pointing the finger at Alec and Ethereum and how defensive they were. They're like, bro, you just cheated. You saw something on Twitch and you just fucking cheated. Like, don't call us, don't say that we're, mass reporting you. You guys are fucking cheaters. And I'm going, Jacob's not cheating. Jacob's not cheating.
He was, though, for the record. The Ashwagandha guys were kind of cheating. And are you surprised? They seem like the kind of guys who would cheat, don't they?
I don't know. I don't think so. But like, I know them well enough to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt. And then what really set me off on this whole thing is I told everybody first thing in the morning, don't type, don't sign up for the war. We're going to go to a silent war. Because all these guys were signed up, not the Ashwagandha guys, but the guys that Dank and the other two were signed up for the Ashwagandha. And Dank was actually in the silent for the Reekwater bonus or whatever. And so it looked targeted because 3 silent guys were out in pretty quick succession. So then what really sent me over the edge with this whole thing is about 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago, something like that. Pistolier, who I've known for a long time, really sweet guy, never fucking cheats, doesn't really curse at anybody, just if it's not a terrible thing to say, fairly docile, gets fucking yeeted for cheating, grinding next to Ethereum guys in Reekwater again. And no Ethereum guys have been banned this entire time. So I go off the fucking handle.
And he signed up for the war.
And he signed up for the war and level 60, which all 4 of these people were signed up for Reekwater War, level 60, grinding next to Ethereum. So that to me was enough dots to fucking connect to go, we're getting fucking targeted.
Yeah. And it's like, this hasn't happened to us until today, right? And so if this was like some automation process that was just going afoul, it would have been like, oh, one person got banned today. Oh, look, I got banned today. You got banned tomorrow. And you would see like a pattern there. But since it just started from nothing, and it happened way after the patch and stuff, it seems just very unlikely that it is some automation process that's failing.
I think it has something to do with Reekwater farming and a customer service rep who doesn't really understand what's going on and is just banning everyone in the vicinity of what's happening.
Maybe
It definitely throws. It's going to be interesting re-listening to this podcast once hopefully light is properly shed upon this. Because again, this is kind of happening right at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But
do we know what happened with the instant spawning boar or bear or whatever? People were talking about like their skills getting rolled back or something. Like there was some sort of action taken on that, but I don't know what the details are.
The boars are still instant spawning, and I never would.
No, there was like a specific boss boar, boss bear that people were farming that was like just insta spawning, kind of like Pastor Walsh. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know the details.
there was one in
maybe.
the north side of Wrestler's Shore at the little Borsham, and basically if you go there, the boar boss spawns like every 30 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, he's still doing that. I was there last night.
Yeah, I just go there.
See, I think that's just part of the. I think that's intended though. Right?
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah,
that whole thing is so fucking weird, man.
It's called Borslum or whatever. Borslum.
I think ultimately what I want out of this is I just want clarification on like different topics, like what is okay, what's not okay, like things that are like where does New World developer teams see the lines drawn in the sand so that the players know like what they can and cannot do. If there's like, you know, how bad of a bug does it have to be before we're not allowed to do it? You know, like let's say they tuned the respawn on something and it's like 30 seconds. Like, can you farm that boss or are you going to get banned for farming that boss? Because it feels like right now there's a lot of gray lines and these problems are coming up more often than not because of poor balancing or poor bug fixing or poor testing, you know? So
yeah, we definitely need some kind of clarification because this is very confusing. If you have bosses that are organically spawning in 30 seconds and then bosses that are spawning instantly because they're bugged, like what's the threshold? How are we supposed to tell the difference? You know, how many kills are you allowed before you get in trouble? Like, what's the deal here?
yeah.
Very messy, dude.
Yeah,
very messy and kind of predictable, right? I mean, this is all the stuff we knew what was going to happen in beta when we were saying this game's not ready, and now we're experiencing it. So
yeah, it's. I think some of the things are a little sad because we heard rumors in the closed beta about mass reporting getting people banned, and like we weren't 100% sure, but now it's a repeating pattern, and that's making it a lot more. The confidence that we have that the mass reporting is a big issue in the game is just becoming more and more well known, and now it's the top rated thing on Reddit. You know, we have streamers getting mass reported and getting kicked out. We have, you know, it's affecting wars. It's definitely a big issue.
I saw a clip from Fexture Live. I don't know what. Maybe this is just me, but it completely fucking rubbed me the wrong way. He was talking about getting mass reported on, this was like the first or second day of the game. He got mass reported and banned. And I saw this clip where he's like super, super calmly talking about this. And he's like just casually throwing it away. Like, yeah, I got banned and, you know, I just messaged Amazon and they unbanned me. So, you know, so now I'm back in the game. And it's like, bro, can you freak out a little more, please? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how nice for you that you can just DM Amazon and get that problem taken care of. But for the rest of us, like, can you make a little bit of noise here? Get to the bottom of this shit? Holy fuck.
That's it. I'm starting an embedding website. I'm going to make a content website and just start fucking embedding. I'm so tired of this shit, man.
I honestly am really tempted to get in contact with and make that happen.
Do it, man. You should use your contact. I was talking to my friend about this last night, and I was like, you know, at first I really respected that potion, took a pass on that, but now I'm thinking that this is just some weird hill that we're all going to die on, and it's the future of streaming is just fucking embed, because none of us can get in contact with anybody because we don't have a content website that's, you know, invisibly embedding our fucking stream.
It's going to be paid promotions on Twitch soon anyways. So.
Aren't they? Yeah, aren't they doing where you can like pay money to raise yourself in the category soon?
Yep.
So it's like,
well, you know, die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Might as well just fucking get on board and not, you know, before it's all taken up or what the fuck ever, or the game changes.
Yeah.
You know, so when we have a problem, we can actually be listened to because nobody looks past the fucking surface of how many viewers you have. They just go, oh, Fexra has drops when only 50 streamers have drops, and he's embedded for 20K out of his mind the whole other time. He's the most important person in the world with 2,000 people in his. Fuck this, man. Sorry, tangent. My bad.
Tim Unreformed. Alan?
Still me. I'm still me. Oh, you have no idea how much I've restrained myself in the past 2 weeks. Holy hot fucking crap.
So, Tim, do we think you just got mass reported during the beta? Like, because we were saying,
Well, I deserved it.
how crazy it was that they must have went and listened to your voice chat. But what if they never did? What if they never actually had records of VoIP in the game, and they literally just go off of the number of people who report you in a certain amount of time?
It had to have been, but it was also earned.
Well, yeah, in that case. But I'm just saying, like, if it's sort of more evidence that this process is not actually involving humans.
Somebody saying they don't record VoIP. I would be shocked if they did. You imagine being that? You imagine having that job?
You'd be.
But that means they're just taking people at their word when they report for disruptive behavior over VoIP.
Yeah, it's the honesty system, which I mean, people abuse the everything
Doesn't
crap
work
out
in
of
games at all.
No, because
People are not honest. Hello.
there's no consequences for not being honest.
Yeah.
Dank says they record VoIP because that's data that they can sell.
They're listening to see what products to recommend to you on Amazon.
You go to Amazon, it'll be like different video games, video game accessories. Oh, you broke your mouse yesterday because you were mad at New World and you got banned for 24 hours? Oh, we got a new mouse for you.
Alexa, purchase New World.
Oh, don't say that. People are going to actually listen to this and their stupid bot's going to actually buy something.
Alexa, play
No,
Rick Astley.
don't actually do it, bro. People, I'm going to get so many
That was
angry...
going to be a good one.
I'm going to have so many angry comments, bro.
What's wrong with Rick Astley? He's got a voice of the gods. Muted. Okay, my bad. I'm sorry. That was a big tangent. Yeah, so developing situation. I guess we'll check back in it as we get new information here, but most likely next week. Let's talk about Siege for a little bit. How have you guys enjoyed our absolute domination of this server?
Dude, so I knew that defense was going to be easy because it always is early game. But what surprised me is how we've been speedrunning offense, too. That Eben scale siege was a fucking disaster, bro. I mean, they didn't even, like, we didn't even have to try to take those points. We didn't really even need a strategy. We didn't even need to really do, like, counter cannons. I don't know if those guys have never actually sieged before. Like, I was under the impressions that these were all established guilds from beta and alpha. But the way it's been playing out, it's like these people don't know the game at all. Didn't even like watch a video explaining how Siege works.
Yeah, Ed, I've been watching other guilds on other servers kind of fight it out too, and it seems either we have just been paying more attention than a lot of these other guilds, or we're taking this more seriously, or some of these other guilds have been brainwashed and completely forgot how to play the game. But it feels considerably different than our previous experiences playing this game.
Do you think that has to do with like the size of the game? Because I mean, I'm thinking back to like the hardcore PvP games that I played in the past, and they have all been kind of niche, right? Like they're all attracting a certain type of player who's going to be sort of hyper competitive. And maybe this game just didn't quite do that. Like maybe the player base is diluted with a lot of people who aren't that serious about it, and so we're just not getting the level of competition that we would have gotten from, you know, Darkfall or some of these other boomer games. I don't know. Do you think that's part of it?
I think it actually, sincerely, I was talking about this quite a bit last night too with my buddy Sneaky Feats, and I think the difference is really made in the types of games that these players played previously. And so I think with the amount of hype that you've gotten from this game, even though we were on the self-proclaimed PvP server, it still brought like people from Albion, which I played some Albion. I don't know how much it really correlates the skills there. Darkfall, yeah. I think if you play Darkfall or BDO, and there's probably another game that I haven't played or can't think of right now, that really can kind of make you start this game at a different level than other people. And then time played as well too. But like even these people that played, preview, open beta, closed beta, stuff like that, these self-proclaimed top guilds, regardless of their organizational failures, they're still kind of shit.
Yeah, I mean, Albion's an interesting example because that's, I think it's a great example of a game where people are omega sweaty, like fucking Eve levels of serious. Like this is more important than real life. And that game, parts of it are so hyper competitive. You have to have hundreds of people all working together, all playing 6 days a week. Like literally some of those guilds, if you're not on 6 days a week, you get kicked. Like just omega levels of sweaty in that game. And yet when those guys come over to this game, they're complete fucking pushovers. So I don't know what's going on. Like
my chat saying ESO is that third game that makes people better at this, but I'm gonna give a big no fucking way on that one. The games look similar when you look at them, but when you play them, they play very differently. I can promise you that.
Well, I think there's two different things going on here. One, our servers are way smaller than we thought they were going to be, so that has a huge impact on it. Like if you go to a sample of 100 people, if there's one person who's at gold tier and everyone else is bronze or silver, that gold player will crush. But you get a sample of 1,000, you'll probably find maybe 5 or 10 people who are at that gold level. Okay. So I think that we could just have rolled the dice on this low sample size player of 2,000, and our competition that has happened to roll here is just like, hey, like just push it over. It's a little bit more than we expected. But given 10,000, there'd be maybe 2 or 3 other people who could compete with us a little better.
I mean, looking at some of the fights on.
That's a good point. You've got hundreds of thousands of concurrent players in Albion, and they're all in one world. So I think that does drastically push up the competitiveness. Whereas in this game, it's a much smaller environment. It is in some way almost pure luck if you actually get like equally matched group of players to fight each other. I mean, it's not like there's any MMR or ELO or anything that goes along with any of this. It's all just groups of 2,000.
Yeah.
Where I see that as a good point, I'm still like looking at these other servers and watching how they fight, and they're just. I know this is going to change. I know people are going to figure out this game, but I didn't realize how far behind they would start. And so, right, as a guild leader, one of my biggest concerns is complacency. Or people are going to think I tore apart one of the last fight that I wasn't in. I tore Valinaris apart a little bit because I didn't. There was like. We gotta find, just because we won doesn't mean we did well. And even if we did well, it doesn't mean that we can't learn something. I'm trying to figure out how to get better when we demolish people. What could we have done better to put a better clinic on, to get ready for the server transfers, for the sweaties to come this way, when we beat our chest and come and say, come at us, all that kind of stuff. And so that's what I've been like hyper focused on, is for everybody to keep their heads, not get too fucking cocky. Let's watch the goddamn VODs and let's make sure that we're earning it every single time. Oh my God, there's a group of big greens. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's a huge room for improvement. And that's not to say that we're doing bad. It's just to say that there's a lot more to learn. There's a lot more gear to have. There's a lot more min-max. There's a lot more strategies we can explore and get better at as a group. Make what we used to be able to do with 30 people. You can only take 20 people, so you can use 10 people for something else. There's lots of different ways to expand and get better, I think, for sure.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it's hard to advance past the fundamentals if you don't have a proper opponent to push back against you.
And that's what I'm pretty worried about, actually. Sorry, I'm in a big sweaty PvP thing.
Well, we have another war tonight where a lot of our top players are banned, so that might be more of a challenge.
Yeah, I'm like in a big way looking forward to that, I'm hoping that we find some competition and some issues that we see some cracks, right?
Well, there's going to be one or two things happen. either they're going to ban like 200 people on our server and they're going to have to do something about it, or we're going to have a really good fight. I think those are like the two big things that will happen. One of those two.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are like so paranoid about this right now that they've unsigned up for the war because they don't want their name to be like put out there for reporting.
That was at my
crazy to me.
instruction. No, that was at
like-
my instruction.
Well, it's just crazy that it comes to that. Like,
Yeah.
we just don't know where this is coming from or what the rules actually are. So people are like, don't even want their name to be public. I mean, that's the current state of siege.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like, you know, when a corporation or any sort of grouping of people, something systemically bad is happening, the first thing that should be done is act with an abundance of caution. Not to steal a phrase from Twitch, which I'm sure we'll get into later, but we don't know where the attack was coming from, right? There was no way to know at 5:55 this morning what was happening, why, or where. So don't type in chat. Don't sign up for this war. Don't really log in if you're just like fucking about. Like, let's just figure this out and then go from there. And so it took me 2 or 3 hours to kind of sniff out a trail of at least put some pieces together, as wrong as it may be, you know.
Do you think they should make like the war board sign up like private? Like you can't see, like only the guild that's warring can see who's been slotted into the war?
God, is that really got to be the answer?
Like I know it's super stupid and it's like very childish, but it's like if people are gonna be like right before they go to a war, they think they can't win, they get all their members to mass report someone and then hope they get banned. Like that's kind of.
I think maybe another solution that would be make it where you can't report from that screen, and then make it where you can't type somebody's name in the top left of your like group menu, right? To report somebody, and if they do those two things, that makes reporting a little harder.
This is all so
ridiculous.
Do that. They should ban people who mass report from the game forever after one offense. I think that's the correct solution here.
I do think
so?
That. Yeah. Oh,
yes.
100%.
I think if you do a ban appeal and a human customer service rep looks and sees 60 reports on someone, and they all just say, you know, disruptive behavior, and there's no explanation, and there's like nothing that went wrong, then yeah, I think that those people should be punished for abusing that system.
Yep, absolutely. And you know that would have to be used sparingly because all you have to do is use a few examples of that, right? Make that public that you banned, 100 people for it, and then the vast majority of the community would never do it again. And the problem is solved then.
I think it's just going to take a little more. I'm sorry, I was a little distracted, so I didn't key in exactly on what you said, but I just think, hiding it from everybody except for the guild that has it or whatever the case is a jerk on the wheel, right? An overreaction. So I think the devs need to be a little more reactive and involved in what's happening here, and solve the problem that way instead of, redacting information that's needed for people who are signing up to wars.
Yep, agreed.
Sorry if I repeated something you said.
And I think it goes back to they have a poor idea right now of like consequences. And you see that in open world PvP is the consequences and reward structure of that is, could be a lot better. And the same is true for, reporting and banning, right? The reward is huge for banning right now, and the penalty is basically nothing.
Okay, so here's a development. Alec just streamed his entire Discord to Mr. Pay to Win, going through all the council and all the Discords and stuff. And he is corroborating that, they're just as confused as we are about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the sense. I talked to Gak, and that's the sense I got from him as well. Is that like, he seemed a little like defensive and like butthurt that we were coming after him, but at the end of the day, he does seem genuinely confused that any of his members would do this. But it was kind of like, I don't know. It's like when the police come to arrest your son, and you're like, "Oh, my boy's a good boy. He would never break the law." Like that's kind of the vibe I got from him. So it was a little
me
frustrating.
Too. Yeah,
but I definitely didn't get like a cover up feeling or anything like that.
I got the sense that they weren't even fucking taking it seriously. They're just like, no, we didn't do it. And that's, I sent you that one message where like it was 4 minutes between. I'm like, hey, like you guys are doing this, or I don't think it's systemic. Like I don't think it's a directive, but I think you've got some asshole who's doing it. And he was like, no, it's not us. And it was all within like 3 minutes. I'm like, thanks for checking. Like, fuck you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Like at least take 5 minutes and talk to somebody. But that was an excellent idea, Mr. Pay to Win. And thank you for facilitating that, Alec. So now I think it really points at something's up. And as unlikely as this possibly is, that no Ethereum has been banned, and it's literally only been Ashwagandha early in the day. They were or weren't cheating. I don't know. I don't really want to get into that. But what I care about is Silent and Aftershock kind of getting picked off here, and no Ethereum. But now the bans are being changed from disruptive behavior to cheating, and now it's being extended. And like, what the fuck is happening?
Cheating is such a crazy category. Like, if getting a response to your appeal that just says you cheated is the most like what the fuck does that mean? Because especially in the context of a 24-hour ban, you have to offer some detail of what the fuck you actually got in trouble for. Like, if you're cheating and you're only getting banned for a day, I mean, what's the cheat exactly? Like, if you are cheating, you should be banned for way longer than a fucking day.
It almost feels like a Band-Aid or something. Like, hey, it should be obvious that you shouldn't do this thing that we haven't gotten around to fixing yet, so you get a day ban. Bad boy.
Yeah.
I even went back and talked to one of my guys. I was like, hey, I'm not going to use your name. I'm not going to punish you like full. Just come clean. Let me know that you haven't been macroing. You haven't been cheating. You haven't done anything like this. No punishment. Just come clean so we can try to figure this fucking out. He's like, no, dude. Like, I clicked the auto run button on like the second day, and that was it. Like, I didn't even put a credit card in my keyboard or anything. Like, just hit auto run, and they didn't kick me. That's all I've done. And so it's got to be some fucking weird thing that's caught in the middle here that we just can't get fucking information about.
Well, launch week, baby. Let's go.
Launch week, baby. I'm glad it's not some like crazy fucking this is our grind spot, not yours kind of thing. Because that would
never
cringe.
I never would have guessed the issues that New World launch issues are. They're like so different than every other game that has ever launched. There's such a weird launch issues.
I thought it was pretty obvious after the exploits we found in beta that the majority of people who were going to be the first ones to hit 60 or the first people to get their watermark up were going to get that as a result of exploits and not legit gameplay. There was just no way that stuff wasn't going to slip through the cracks after how rushed the launch was.
I figured some fuck shit would happen, but trying to put your finger on it and tell the future, we all have the same crystal ball, it clearly isn't ready, and the team has been so rushed and pressured over the past year.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised at the lack of customer service or that these weird little 24-hour things are happening. I'm just trying to figure out how I can instruct my community to keep their head, or our community to keep their head down, so they don't get hit by it. So it's just my whole day has been this. I have a headache over this shit, man.
Yeah, I'm just really, something is not adding up, right? That's the end of the day. Both explanations feel like they have holes in it. The fact that you could get these people are getting maybe legitimately 24 hours of punishment, like, is a crazy notion. But then at the same time, it being mass reports is also seems to be somewhat not entirely true. So it's just very strange to me.
It seems we have actual evidence now. Going through somebody's like Discord and all their channels and stuff, and not seeing any sort of like, haha, fucking got him. I'm pretty off that thing personally.
I guess for me, I think it's probably the truth is somewhere in between. There's probably a few bad actors, maybe not Ethereum, but there's probably a few bad actors. And then there's probably also some bugs going on, because
if their council chat doesn't know, there's no way there's enough people in on it
Yeah, right. And I'm not like I'm
Mess.
saying like
Unless it's 5 people.
the fact that they changed it from disruptive
Maybe.
behavior to cheating indicates that they initially made it through an automated system, and that would indicate that people did report. Otherwise, they would have no context for what that was. And so it being changed to cheating means that a human probably stepped in at that point and actually did it. So I do feel like truth is somewhere in the middle there, where there's some like two different things going on there, like people reporting and then also maybe reporting incorrectly, but then the bans changed due to something else in the game that the human recognized.
Well, so here's the other thing, right? Is here's the low hanging fruit. Like Dank makes an appeal, and then he actually fucking gets a response, which I would have lost my life savings on thinking that would have been, by the way, $0. And then they miss the opportunity to tell him what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
In the response to the appeal, and just go 24 hours not time served. You're a fucking cheater.
You fucking did it. What did I do? You did it.
You did it. You're the one. Hell,
Can you give me a hand?
Don't do it again. You ever go back to Reekwater, Dank?
You're
gonna be a 48-hour next time. Yeah,
your ass is
toast.
Yeah,
Mister. I mean, I hate to be nonchalant about this because, like, all the different versions of both the previous versions of Aftershock and BDO, we would like sniff people out. You can ask Zabby, ironically, that if we thought somebody was speed hacking or piloting or something like that, I think we ended up kicking 2 people total. Like, we were on top of that shit. And so, as stupid of a name as Aftershock is, I really don't want that to be, our reputation or anything like that. I want to be as far away from that as possible and err on the side of caution. But I have no inclination that, or nobody's been able to corroborate that Dank was doing something, above or below.
Yeah. Well, and like the thing is, like, the methods that he used leveling up are not like they're a secret, right? It's like main mission, side mission, faction missions, and a little bit of town board. And whenever they cross over, you do both, right? And
I don't know. I thought he just did a bunch of dabs and whatever those are. And
blowing stuff up with fire staff. I mean, he streams for like 90 hours a day. So
right.
Yeah,
mystery.
It's not like it's
if you have
secret.
a question of what Dank has done, pull up his VODs because it's 99% of him of his entire time playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what other drama that we got?
Twitch. If you want to get into that.
People leaving the server, I think, is the last thing. And Valhalla's future, I think, would be the last thing I would want to bring up on this game. Is the future of the server is fairly uncertain. This whole drama notwithstanding, I don't know if Elevate's actually coming. We're trying to get other people that are interested or not having great competition on other servers to come at us. So if I can use this platform for half a second, if you guys aren't on Valhalla, I think all of us here that want to stay here, which I honestly believe is more than, we don't want the entire map to be yellow, and we're open to figuring that out. So if you guys have a guild of people that really want to compete against some really good gamers that'll say good fights afterwards, this is a decent place, but we definitely need more people that want to compete. And so as these kind of fractured and quite frankly terrible guilds get their ass kicked, they don't know how to lose, and they're disbanding, leaving the server, or quitting the entire thing. We definitely need a little more competition here. But for my research and reaching out to people, which has been probably 20 hours in the past 4 days or so, a lot of servers are like this. A lot of servers are really faction one-sided.
Yeah.
These guilds couldn't take an L, and they just said a gamer word and peaced out, just like really kind of not that it was like I think we all saw that coming in a very large way, but it's a systemic problem that server merges will help alleviate a little bit or make worse, as it may be. But I rather take it in my own hands and kind of put it out there that we are looking to, we can refaction how things are working. Obviously, Aftershock and Ethereum being on the same side is not sustainable. So one of those things are going to have to change.
Kerr's going to make a guild. Moreland's gonna make a guild. I'll make a guild, and then there'll be Aftershock, and we'll just all fight each other.
So, not to repeat myself, but if you guys are looking for a more competitive server and people who are willing to cooperate with PvP and say good fight afterwards, Valhalla is a pretty good spot. And please reach out to Ravage, TTV, reach out to Ethereum. They've got a whole thing. Reach out to me personally, whoever you're more friendly with or would rather reach out to, and we'll all talk amongst ourselves and facilitate it. But don't reach out to Dank RNG. He's a fucking cheater.
Do you think anyone's coming to this server, dude?
It's worth a shot.
Yeah, I hope so. I think this is going to be a massive endemic problem for every fucking part of New World. I think almost every server is going to have a Pareto distribution of one fucking guild that owns the whole map and everybody else just not able to organize against them.
Yeah.
I think if Ethereum or Aftershock goes purple, this server is way more interesting overnight.
Yeah, I hope so. I just don't want to be purple.
I don't either. But I know Ethereum doesn't want to give up their 300,000 gold a week empire.
Someone does need to take that from them.
Do you think Amazon's going to do anything to fix faction imbalances?
Do I think Amazon is going to do anything about antitrust? No, I don't.
I mean,
let's call up Bill Gates, see what his thoughts are on this.
I think solving some of the more core fundamental issues with the game will help solve the imbalance. I think factions should be able to fight factions. I think the faction system is really good for open world, but really poor for siege. And I think that would really help out a lot if they made factions be able to deck on their own faction. I think that'd be kind of cool. I mean, just like really there's.
I mean, you're talking about getting rid of the faction system. To be clear,
you'd still have the faction system for open world, and that would make good content and stuff. And you still have the benefits for being in the same faction if you're owning the territory.
They'd have to redo everything though, because how would you push influence against your own faction? You'd have to be able to attack your own faction out in the open world.
Yeah, you just add a third bar, and then the third bar is anyone else in the faction.
Well, no, you would be defending it, and then how would you?
Yeah, you'd be attacking and defending at the same time without being able to. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, you just have your guild can't sign for both sides. Only can sign up for your side. Their guild can only sign for their side.
Right. What I'm talking about in the open world right now, you go and you do quests to push the bar. So you add a third yellow bar that yellow pushes. What does that mean? When yellow does quests, they reduce the bar. So
wait a minute. What if when you turn level 8, you went rogue if you didn't pick a faction? And then
now we're talking anybody being able to opt out of the faction system altogether and join a free-for-all faction where you can just fuck with anyone. We
could be the free army.
Now we're talking, boys.
I like
that. Was Froz's idea.
Now we have a fucking video game.
I gotta give credit to Froz for that. That was his idea. But that's your third bar, right? The free army, man.
Yeah.
You've got the 3 factions and the free army.
Anyone can attack anyone in open world with it.
The free-for-all faction. You kill yourself and everyone else.
Then they could build it in that you could fight against yourselves, and everybody would just go that faction. Honestly,
the only friendly fire rules would be guild or party, nothing else.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, I do like the core issues that I think would help fix the siege would be increasing player population by 3 or 4-fold or something like that. Something that's a very large population increase to the max. I think that would help out in a huge way. I think another thing
I still think that in these games, though, people just tend to sort of end up like the top guild is going to slurp up the top players. I feel like that imbalance is always going to be there. People are going to clump in such a way that competition is not necessarily encouraged.
Yeah, to some extent. I guess because you can run multiple guilds and there's no penalty for running multiple guilds. I guess that would ultimately happen, right? Because guilds just grow to be 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 and still try to control everything.
It's just the way people organize themselves, right? Like the best players are going to want to be in the best guild.
Yeah.
And so that's a self-reinforcing structure that's very, very hard to take down from the outside if you're not already established.
Well, I mean, I guess you just make it against the terms of service to run 2 guilds, and that would solve that, wouldn't it?
I don't think so. The best players are still going to want to join the top guilds. I mean,
Well, if
that's how it worked at BDO. It's how it works in every game.
You'd be limited to 50, though, wouldn't you, at that point?
That's 100 people per guild.
Or 100 or whatever? Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't think the fact that Ethereum has 2 guilds or the fact that Aftershock has 2 guilds is the reason that we're dominating. When we go to these sieges, I mean, Aftershock's not even capped in members right now. We could pull in the best 5 or 10 people from our second guild, and we'd be those are the only people coming to sieges anyways. So yeah, I don't think capping at 100 prevents you from having all the best players in the server. 100 is plenty to have all the best players in the server.
Yeah, I guess if you increase the population of the server itself, then I do think that there would be a few more companies that'd be willing to challenge. They wouldn't be the same tier, but at least you'd have a little better quality competition.
So I kind of want to buck you on that a little bit too, from like my perspective and my experience, is that I don't want the best players in the server because they're generally the most readily available to hit you with that slur. So I want to have people who can fight, be passionate about how they play the game, play it at the best level possible, and say good fight afterwards.
Yeah, but I didn't really say that though.
But that's a different mentality, because a lot of these like hardcore edgy PvP guilds, they just get in Discord and type the N-word to each other as many times as possible and think it's hilarious.
Yeah, but I'm not saying anything
kind of building
like that.
a more mature. So the idea is like capitalism, right? Is yeah, you could join that guild, but they're filled with, whatever word you want to use of those types of people. But then there's these guys who aren't quite exactly the best, but they're working really hard, and they're not a bunch of idiots, and they're a group of adults that like fart jokes still.
Yeah,
so
I'm just saying increasing the population.
There's different ways to come at it, right?
I think increasing the population of the server allows you to have a better and more well-rounded top end. I think that's my only point on that. I mean, the having another problem.
The reason people sucked the snake's dick for all those years in BDO is because they knew when their guild died, they wanted a cozy little place to still pretend that they mattered in the game world, right? So it's always going to be that way in every single game, regardless.
Yeah, but you don't think that increasing the server population would help that at all? You think it would have no help? It wouldn't help one bit?
Right. So the percentages would stay the same ostensibly throughout most game worlds, where if you had 2,000 people, you'd have 1 or 2 more guilds. It would make the world more interesting.
I mean, we had 20,000 people who left the server because they couldn't get in through the queue. That's a lot of people.
Yeah,
that's a lot of competition.
That is kind of crazy.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I understand where you're coming from. I just wanted to bring up that
that's 90% of the potential competition that wanted to compete with us that left. That's a lot.
Do we actually know any of these guilds that left in terms of would they have been legit competition? Because
Elevate,
yeah, they were pretty strong during beta, or they're from another game, or like who were they?
Everybody that said anything about Elevate said they're excellent gamers. They would have been here. I forgot what game they came from, but they would have been stout competition. I actually just talked to somebody on the server that stayed here, that has a level 60, and they're supposed to be coming over. I don't know what game they came from. It may be another Albion game, but that or another Albion guild. Yeah, Albion. Okay, but still,
I would be curious about getting like someone from the top Albion guild or one of the top.
They won
Albion
the
guilds.
most recent season of Albion. That's who they are.
Okay,
we should have one of them on, and then they can tell us about all these other Albion guilds and how trash they are.
Oh God, no!
Yeah, let's do an Albion podcast, you guys.
What do you think,
Kerr?
What do I think about what?
New Worlds.
The
drama
conversation you guys are having. I mean, I think it's just to be expected from any game. You're gonna have shitty people in any situation, and I from what I've seen on the Reddit, a lot of the servers are like ours in the sense that one faction is dominating. But surprisingly enough, it's almost never the Covenant. It's pretty much always either yellow or green or purple.
I believe we're the
So-
strongest Covenant faction in the world. I'm just going to say that regardless of whether or not it's true.
What do you think we should
Facts.
do? Like, what do you think Aftershock should do? If you were leading this ship, what would you try to find a different server? Would you build a
I
coalition?
honestly, like if it came to me, I would just do some shit like, I don't know, go to Shroud's server and kick his ass, take over his server. If like there was no way that our server was going to recover, just everybody transfer to one of those streamer servers and just take over the server. I mean, why not? Hurt some
Streamer server is
egos.
always going to have drama, that's for sure.
Exactly.
You go fight Smash the Invalidas.
I think we're gonna try to see if they'll come here.
Obviously, we want to stay here and we want to try to, organically build up some kind of competition here. But again, that's always like a backup plan.
You think like Shroud and those guys are even gonna play this game after drops in next week though?
Probably not.
I don't think so.
Right.
No, probably not.
That's why I've never even really considered that.
I don't know. There needs to be like a siege report for each server or something, so we can see what other guilds are dominating.
PTSD, bro. Holy fuck.
There needs to be a spreadsheet that shows the most powerful guilds, so that we can pick who we want to go fight.
Yeah, PAX made their own website once to proclaim that they were the best guild.
Bro, it's kind of hard to figure out where the competition is when there's 500 servers.
That's true. There are a lot of servers.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be some solution to this.
And we also don't know. Well, actually, so each of the servers is in like a group of like 3. They all have that like umbrella. They're like in this group of 3. What are the chances that when they do the umbrella merge, that Valhalla also is included in that umbrella merge, like the other 2 servers that are with Valhalla?
I'd have to look.
Well,
So Alec counted. There's 129 servers.
my goodness, is that just in the East?
What, in US East?
He'll have to answer. He didn't specify.
Because
That's gotta be just US East, because there's definitely way more than that worldwide.
Yeah, I think
depending
so.
on player fall off after the first month, I mean, there's nothing that
East,
says
yeah.
that they won't eventually merge people into us, right?
Well,
as
I think they'd probably take the 2 lowest population servers and merge those together, and then
We're getting there quickly.
And I think like they would probably not merge the most popular of that server cluster.
Well, they said previously that they were going to merge the lesser popular into the more popular, and then the more popular would maintain their territories. So I hope we get
I don't
merged.
think they combine 2 dead servers, because then they're just going to have to combine 2 more dead servers into those dead servers, and that's more people losing their territories and more people getting moved around. So I think they'll pair or funnel low pop servers into high pop servers that already have kind of a more established player base. I think that's probably the route they'll take.
Imagine if we get merged into a server that's owned by the map is owned by green.
Be fantastic, dude.
Please.
That'd be fucking insane. We'd run so many fucking PvP missions. Back to back wars, man. We'd learn how to fucking win offensives in 15 minutes. That'd be some fucking content right there.
Yeah, I do think that's one of their longer term issues. They said they're doing like a Halloween patch next week. I heard it was a rumor. Does anyone know anything about that?
There's got to be something in the works.
There was an official announcement where they said they were coming out with a headless horseman mount.
Oh, that's gonna
dude,
be legit.
finally.
I want to carry my head as a pumpkin.
Yikes.
And in their last ditch effort to get Asmigul to stay on the server on the game. It was fake. It's a joke, everybody.
All right, so we've been playing for a little over a week now. I'm just curious what you guys think now that we're kind of in it, and like, do you guys still feel like it's going to be like a 1 or 2 month game? Like, how do you think it's going to last over time?
So I'm going back and forth, because I'm trying to take this game seriously. I'm really going out of my way to take this game seriously, and I feel like Amazon is shitting on me for doing that. Like, one of the ways that I've extended my like the amount of content that I have in this game is by achievement hunting. And the number of fucking achievements in this game that either are literally not possible to do because they're tied to content that was cut over a year ago, or achievements that are just bugged and don't go off and do the objective. Right now, I have 3 different quest lines that I cannot access because despite the patch this week saying that they were fixed, they are in fact still not fixed, which makes me kind of think they'll never get fixed since we had a patch to fix them that didn't fix them. So they think the problem's solved. And it's like, everywhere I go in this game, I find something that I'm like, oh, hey, that's a long-term goal that I can pursue. And then almost immediately I realize, oh, wait, it doesn't work. And so I don't know, dude. Like, if they get their head out of their ass, sure, this game will be around for a while. But I've been really discouraged the past couple of days running into these issues over and over and over again.
Yep.
Just as I thought I was, I'm hyper focused on the PvP and the guild aspect of things and trying to find us long lasting, interesting, mostly friendly. I don't really care how friendly it is, but rivalries that we can kind of sink our teeth into. We've got a bunch of friends, but we really need a villain. We really need somebody that's kind of at our skill level that can test us, beat us. For those of you that are familiar, the Aftershock, the Trap Alliance versus Kyokai kind of thing, right? Like that kind of anime arc.
Literally,
PvP.
no one is familiar with that.
I don't know this either.
Jesus Christ.
This man said the Trap Alliance, bro.
Hikikomori and Aftershock was the Trap Alliance. But like, I had this great PvP arc in BDO where it was 2 years of 2 guilds versus 2 guilds fighting on Balanos and Serendia for like ever, dude. And so I think the potential to have that in this game is extremely real with way less headache and work and immaturity, possibly. So that's where I'm really focused on. 10 days in this game feels like a fucking lifetime. So, waiting on figuring out what character transfers are going to look like, what server merges are going to look like, which both of those things are 99.9% going to happen within this month of October. Trying to tell the future and make the best decisions to create that anime arc if we can, I think is going to be the real longevity. I think even though this game kind of lends itself as like a weird crafter PvE kind of thing,
Anime
I
arc,
think there's there's enough in here for us for the community to really create some good PvP content if we can find the right opposition.
I'm really curious. Didn't they add a transfer button already to the server page? And I heard a rumor it says something about gold. Where you have to
First one's free.
What?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. First one's free, bro.
The first one's free, but I mean, it's not going to be like a real life currency to transfer. It's going to be a gold currency to transfer.
I'm pretty sure it's just going to be free. I don't know where the gold thing's coming from.
No. I'm saying afterwards. I need to look at the server transfer button later on.
Oh, that'd be interesting. So you pay. It's a gold sync to leave your server. That's. I would imagine that's not the way they're going to do it because they want money. But
yeah,
it would be interesting if they did.
Profit margin opportunity.
Amazon hates money, confirmed. I actually am really curious what they're going to do with it, and how it's going to shape up. I kind of suspect there's going to be some servers that have like really huge queues again, and there's going to be other servers that are going to be complete ghost towns with nobody playing them anymore.
Well, it's hard when you're merging a bunch of servers to have like fucking ghost towns, but people can make that happen through.
Have you seen the faction population on WoW Classic and TBC realms?
No, do they merge those servers often?
Well, character transfers are open 24/7 as long as you're willing to pay the $20 or whatever. And there are a massive number of servers that are 99.9% one faction.
Oh.
And the longer the game is out, the worse of a problem it becomes rather than better.
So they literally turn it into a PvE server?
Because you start off with like a 60-40 imbalance and people get tired of being the 40%. So they leave, and then it's 70-30, and then it's 80-20, and then it's 99.999 with 20 people left on one faction, just hanging in there while literally everybody else leaves. And like at first, this was like this weird thing that just happened on this one server, and it was kind of an interesting story, and there were like some YouTube videos about it, and it's like, oh, that's so crazy, like hang in there, guys. And now it's like half the fucking servers, like it's just standard for these servers to just die forever.
So I think get rid of factions, have kind of more of a Darkfall feel, both with get rid of leveling and get rid of factions, man, and just make this more open world.
Destiny got rid of its factions, I believe, as well, because they had such a hard time. They kept it from Destiny to Destiny 2, and they had such a hard time with it. I think they actually just removed it entirely now.
I was breathing some big copium thinking that this wouldn't happen, and the more I look around, the more I realize that this is happening. And if Borland's example of Classic is true, which I'm 100% sure it is, I feel like there may be no way of escaping it. And so that's why I really don't want to. I put out a message to the boys today where it's, focus on yourself, focus on your gear, focus on your level, and then we'll have options. But the truth of the matter is I'm not going to be the first one to make a move, because then we'll just be locked into some shitty situation for 120 days.
Right. We've got to go out of our way. Like it's a player created solution. Ultimately, yep. I don't rely on Amazon to fix this for us. We have to go out of our way to find people who we want to play against. But it just sucks because I feel like we did that for the last 2 months. And, a lot of these people just fucked off and gave up after one loss. So we'll see.
Yeah, you can go purple, Ethereum. I don't want to go purple, man. Nobody here wants to go purple. If you guys want to go purple, yeah, we don't want to.
I'm not going to be on the same side as Ashwagandha. Those are our mortal enemies.
Yes. No, we have an alliance. They have an alliance with both factions.
That's true. Ashwagandha does have an alliance with everyone on the server. Kind of weird.
They're convicted cheaters and snakes.
Cheaters who ally both factions. Come on, guys.
How low could you go, Jacob? Wow. Green's gonna be fucking dead when Envious finally realizes that they had no business ever playing this fucking video game.
I love fighting Envious, dude. I don't know what it is. I think it's how mad they get.
They break. Their morale breaks instantly. They can't take an L to save their life. I think they'd rather get punched in the chin than fucking lose in this video game.
I think of Envious like a chihuahua, They bark a whole
lot.
What? They're like a chihuahua.
Oh, a chihuahua. A chihuahua.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good summary of how they act. As soon as they'll bark at you at the other side of the door all day long, but as soon as you open that door, they're booking it. They're running out.
You got a belt in your hand. They're like, "Oh God, no! Please stop! We'll go somewhere else."
No, I think I do hope that there's some competition here. I think ultimately, we can come up with some temporary player solutions that will be fun for us and tide us over, so to speak. But just like Siege and BDO couldn't be fixed by the players. I don't think the long-term solution is the players creating their own content. I do think Amazon will have to figure out some way of creating good content for the players or reworking this in a way that works better. Whether that be.
I feel the opposite, dude. I think the only chance we have is the players fixing it. I don't think Amazon's going to step up. I don't think they have the first fucking clue how to run a PvP game. These are all like... How massive does the PvP in Destiny get? Isn't it like 3v3 or something? Like, none of these guys have ever worked on a PvP game before.
They got team deathmatch, dude.
It gets up to I think 6v6 or something. But it's not large.
I think there's enough excitement about the game. BDO was a bad game because people wanted BDO to fail. I think people who are playing New World right now want New World to succeed. But it's been, 8 days? Like, we're all kind of like sniffing each other's butts. I was sure Ethereum rat fucked the shit out of us all day. An hour ago.
Yeah, I know you were.
So, but, we've kind of sniffed it out and we're starting to figure it out and all that kind of shit. So I think there's still, we're all still trying to figure out what this is. But I think at the end of the day, I hope we all want the game to succeed because there's a fuckload of fun to be had within the confines of the game how it exists right now. Where comparing this game, I'm so dude, I went on fucking King Richard tried to compare this game to BDO, saying it's unplayable because just like Black Desert, the grinders are just going to beat the game and we can't compete with them.
True.
What?
It's not even true about BDO anymore because nowadays your class choice matters more than your gear anyway.
And
No,
your credit card.
I am really curious on how much of an impact it can ultimately have for the grinding, but the skill factor and the organization factor is way more important in this game, especially because you have like a baked-in holy trinity, so to speak, along with like siege turrets and stuff, where those are all extremely impactful in more interesting ways than BDO.
Bro, there's 2 weeks of PvE in this game.
Yeah, I mean the gear scaling in BDO, you're like 500 times stronger than someone without it. The gear scaling in this game, you're like 30% stronger. It's not that big of a deal. Just dodge a couple times and outplay them.
Yep.
So that was the tweet of the week that fucked me off. I lost my shit. I had to
There's a lot of big streamers saying shit like that, and I think it's scaring a lot of people away from the game.
It's so
Shroud was saying the same thing. He was saying basically, if you have a job, you'll never catch up. Like, you can't play this game casually.
God!
Yeah.
It's literally built for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the most casual MMO I've ever played in my life, and we've got all these big streamers saying that it's just impossible to play unless you're no-lifing it. I don't understand what they're comparing it to.
Well, and I think a really, really key thing here is I bring this up a lot, but it's the journey that's enjoyable, not the destination. Like, once you have all your gear, most people are just going to quit the game. Once you get leveled up, most people are going to quit the game. Like, the actual journey of leveling up, the journey if you want to push past 60 to 600 gear score, that journey is the most fun in the game. And so that's like, I feel like what a lot of people are missing is like a lot of people that say the game is not fun until I get the siege, and that's just not true. That's just not true at all.
Let's get the optics on this real quick. King Richard is Apex Legends, Warzone. I think he streams on Facebook now. Activist, good guy, right? Shroud, what did he get famous for? Clapping people in PUBG. Then went to Valorant and everything that you could fucking first-person shooter. And so their chief complaint, these two people specifically, is that you cannot catch up if you play casually. But their entire, how does that work when your success is based off of 40-minute video games that you have to grind, like 20 to 40-minute sessions of a video game that you have to grind for a fucking lifetime to be mediocre at and have like this weird fucking eye-hand coordination talent to play at anywhere close to their level. Thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of hours. Where this game has 2 weeks of PvE content till you're pretty much fucking capped. Let's call it 6 weeks if you've got the fullest life in the world. The optics on them making those statements infuriates me because it's so fucking dumb. And it shits all over the potential of a game where a casual person can really come out and fucking clap. Especially if they've ever played a Souls-like.
Yeah, I do think a big part of it is the type of game that they want to play is just not New World. And, I feel like
it's like me saying I can't be one of the best Apex players because I don't have 200 hours to ever put in this game, and I'm never going to be a master, much less a predator. They put tens of thousands of hours into it. You've got to put 200 into this.
Yeah.
The optics on it are fucking whack.
Like,
I mean, I will say that it's kind of weird though that a lot of people that don't like MMOs or they prefer FPS games talk about how the grind is too much, but it's like, I mean, what's the difference between you playing shooter games for 10 years and having a intangible advantage against anybody else that's going to transfer across games as compared to just hopping on an MMO and learning a class or getting some gear? You know what I mean? Like, at least in an MMO, people are coming in at a clean slate in most cases. In a shooter game, they release a brand new shooter game and you literally bring your 10 years of experience playing Call of Duty and all these other shooters with them.
Yep.
So like, I do think that's a weird take that a lot of people make on MMOs about them not being good if you don't have the time and things.
Yeah, I think that there's been a very weird outcry in general with this game of people who just seem to be against progression within a game. Like any game that has PvP, it seems like they just don't want any form of progression to exist at all. Like they just want you to be capped at level 1 and ready to go. I've seen a lot of that sentiment like
Yeah.
across Reddit with PvP scaling and other things. It's like people literally just do not want you to even be able to make your character stronger when it comes to PvP.
We've got that guy from Method or whatever, the fucking Apex that's on our streamer or on our server, and that was the thread that started the King Richard thing. Is he was like, "Wow, PvP scaling's really terrible. It's going to ruin this game." And then King Richard came in and was like, "Yep, true. All the Black Desert type players are just going to run this. All the grinders." And I'm like, wait, so you just get to level 60 and then everything's cool. And he's like, his response to me was, so you don't think skill matters in an MMO?
Like,
Doesn't make sense.
yeah, I think inherently there's just two different types of player bases here, and it's not like one is incorrect or one is correct. It's just different types of games, right? Like inherently there are some games where you don't have long-term progression, and then you get to PvP. And then there's other games that have long-term. In MMOs typically you have a PvE to unlock the PvP, and those are just different tasting games. And I don't think I don't think that's a bad taste. But if you're a type of a gamer who doesn't want to grind all day, well then don't play a game you have to grind all day. That's
play Fall Guys. Minecraft's cool. Terraria is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
don't come from a game where you have to literally dedicate your life to grinding it to be where you are, and then go, wow, this game's too grindy.
Yeah, and I feel that there's a little bit of personal reflection there. It's like, this is just not my type of game, and people just don't want to admit that it's just not their type of game.
That would be a much better take and much more honest. I also think a lot of these guys get juiced up by their own fucking bubble world. They get stuck in their bubble.
Well,
whatever they say is accurate because they're the man. Where they're not really actually having to reflect or deal with reality. They just live in their own.
Well, one thing that I've really started to realize a lot more recently is all online media, basically people naturally gravitate towards negatives rather than positives because it gets more attraction. So if you're a YouTuber or a content creator, it is way more beneficial to be extremely negative, extremely toxic, even if it doesn't mean anything, even if it doesn't matter. You're just negative anyway because that's what gets you the views. I get where he's coming from a little bit from that standpoint. Like, he's being reinforced every time he's negative, he gets more views. So he just keeps doing it more and more and more and more and more because that's what he does to pay his bills. At the
Moreland's 2-hour BDO video had nothing. He wasn't negative. He was honest. It was an honest. It wasn't negative. It wasn't a crucifixion of the game. It was an honest look at it. I disagree with this. I actually think that fake positivity is the holy grail of content creation, quite frankly.
Well, let's take Reddit for example. What gets upvoted in Reddit is always the most negative topic, right? Whatever's the most demeaning, negative, angry topic, it always gets the most traction, and it creates an echo chamber for negative feedback. And people who don't like that just leave Reddit. And in Twitter, it's the same thing. It's just the most angry comments, the most absurd comment gets reinforced. And this makes people polarized and angry and anger. Facebook does the same thing. YouTube does an okay job at not doing this because the thumbnail is clickbait, but the actual content doesn't have to be. So it does a slightly better job. But content creators do the same thing. If you look at content creators on Twitch, a lot of times the more popular ones will typically have the most negative thing. Like, everybody knows about the World of Warcraft guy who's the lore guy, right? Who ranted and I can't believe this. They ruined the lore. I've been shit on about thousands of dollars. Look at my wall here. And everybody knows about that because it was the most negative thing anybody had said about World of Warcraft.
I don't think it was the lore. I think it was the sexual assault that he was upset about.
Yeah, it was the raping that was the bad part.
Listen, it was a straw brought the camel's back, maybe, but anyway, he's the lore guy. He had a whole bunch of books. Maybe we're talking about different things, possibly. But my point is, negative feedback is what gets most attention, and it's unfortunate because in a lot of cases, even today, what are we focusing on? We're focusing on all the negatives in the world and not many of the positives because it's what we naturally gravitate towards. How many positive are you focused on? Not very many, really.
I would love to be more positive about this game. I feel like I've really been trying. It's just outside of the crafting and the PvP, these other systems are quite busted. So it's hard to talk about the game without being fairly negative. I think, in its current state.
I
But I
don't know
also
if being
think
honest is being negative, right? Like
I
if
do think
something
there's a
broke-
difference between honesty and negativity.
Yeah,
Like, I think
that's
there's
the point I was trying to
there's a
make.
big difference.
Yeah, I do think there's a difference between that for sure. Anyway, I think going back to the King Richard thing, which was my kind of original tyrant I went on, was that I think he's being reinforced to be negative. Based
Tirade? Are you a tyrant or a tirade?
I think he was just being, I think he could possibly just be negative because that's what he's been reinforced to do to get views.
I think that's the potion hot take of the podcast.
I don't think it's that hard of a take. I don't know. I'm just genuinely confused at why people think this game is so grindy. I don't know if they played another MMO where they maxed out in 1 week instead of 2, or like I'm genuinely just kind of weirded out by where this sentiment is even coming from.
Yeah, it's strange because no one complains about RuneScape, but the grind in RuneScape is like, 5-10 times longer, if not more.
Could it be coattail rating because like Asmongold was the first one to like most popularly just like shit all over the game?
Well, I think it was.
I don't think he shit on the game that unfairly. Like, what has Asmund said about the game that hasn't been fair?
I'm not prepared to have that statement, or to have that conversation, but I know he was extremely negative. His clickbait thumbnails, the clips that I've seen, I can pull up specific things and we could talk about it next time if you're.
I mean, I could definitely
I
agree
guess.
that, like, if they said it about BDO being grinding, then yeah, fucking BDO is grindy, but New World is not grindy, bro.
No.
Literally, once you get 60, the only thing you have to do after that is grind for gear drops or buy the gear you want off the market. There isn't really any like actual grind to it past the initial level 60 push.
Right, so it's either out of ignorance or out of some sort of opportunity, which could be what Potion's trying to drive at, right? Like negativity drives views, so they don't care about the game. They're just going to post some negativity, get the clickbait out of it, and move on with their lives.
You know what else, man? I think there's like a punishment for being too kind to game developers. Like, if you actually go out of your way to say like, hey, they did a good job here, people will get so fucking upset at you. Like, so many people got mad at me when I was trying to support Bless Unleashed, and like the new buzzword on this platform is copium. That's like everyone's favorite word now. Anytime you say anything positive about anything, people are just like, oh, copium, copium, copium. It's like, okay, well, I guess I'll just keep complaining then. Like, that's all people want to hear, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a mix of it, right? I think people that use that project it because it was used against them, like anybody from Crowfall, right? I think the Crowfall guys really want to use that word. And
The
then
Crowfall. Wait, there are Crowfall guys?
yeah, exactly. But like people that have been like they love a bad game and then they were marginalized because of it. Those guys are going to come back, and when you love a game that they don't like, they're going to go, oh, well, that's copium. I think it's like the 2021 version of cuck. Everybody misusing that word and abusing the shit out of it and stuff like that. So I don't know the verbiage that people use to describe things is somebody could do a lot of research on that and probably still come up with nothing.
Yeah, I do actually think though that there's a little bit too much.
Copium's a new simp. That's what it is. Thank you.
Copium's new simp. Yeah, it's definitely a hot term, but then there'll always be like a hot term like that for sure. But it does go back to reinforce negativity, right? Because every time you say something positive, you're coping, right? Is the excuse. So it does go reinforce negativity biased.
I think it's like a lack of ability to process nuance too, which seems to just appear at every level of our society right now. But it's like, if a game has problems like New World does, you can't say anything positive about it, or else it's copium because it has problems. Like, it's not possible in these people's tiny brains for the game to be good and also have problems.
I don't remember
like,
what the conversation was, right?
It's either like good game or bad game, and that's all they can fucking handle. Anything in between that just shatters their fucking IQ.
I will say this, that doing this podcast with you guys has helped me appreciate and identify nuance way better than before, we ever did this. And I think it's a skill that doesn't come natural to most people. And it's something that kind of has to be focused on in one way or another. So I think that's probably really accurate.
Well, I think ultimately, like, whenever you hang out with people, anything that is, well, I guess people in general, like, the things that are best for you are typically the things that are hardest to actually achieve. So if you want to get fit, it's not easy to get fit, right? You have to be dedicated. You have to work at it. And sure, the process can be simply explained, but the actual dedication to it is difficult and requires work. And that's true of almost any good characteristic. Anything that's easy typically is a bit bad for you or bad character flaw.
We have hopium. That copium will go away.
We have opium, that copium will go away.
I prefer mopium personally. I think that's what I'm on right now.
Fucking Eeyore over here.
So what, I guess to maybe change it up a little bit, what are some of the things you like best about New World out of all the things it's done so far?
It's
Rain
a better,
in Morningdale, dude. Holy shit. It's so good.
it's a better BDO.
False.
Okay, copium. Holy shit, dude. Jesus Christ.
What do you disagree with there?
I don't know.
I hate comparing this game to video.
If you actually
It was a
compare the
joke.
two
It was a
games,
joke. It
oh
was a
my
joke.
god.
It
Okay,
was a
thank
joke.
God.
It was a joke. It
Oh.
was a joke.
Tim, I was about to say, bro.
No, but for real, like the things that I was trying to enjoy out of BDO, I'm already enjoying more out of this game, which is like the guild management, the siege, the community, all that kind of stuff. So I'm having a better time within this game and have been for the past year trying to get all this together and all that kind of stuff than I did trying to like manage all this shit in BDO. So I actually unironically literally am having a better time in this game than I did in BDO. But I know that's not like a broad statement. I'm not saying this is a better game than BDO. I don't think there's really a possible way to fucking compare the two. But to piggyback on the Rain in Morningdale, absolutely the ambiance of this game is 10 out of 10. Sound, visuals, all that stuff. Even at low, I play the game at low all the time, and I just stop and look at the sunset. It's incredible.
Yeah, I think they've done a good job with it. I think it's probably my favorite thing about the game is actually just the appearance of it, like the day-night cycle. Like when you look up and you see like the sun shining through the clouds or shining past the building, and you have those god rays and stuff. You're just like,
lots of god rays, dude.
Yep, and it's phenomenal because you don't feel like they're overbearing either. They feel like it almost matches what you would imagine if you looked at the sun yourself, right? You'd be like, oh, I can barely make out the building because it's so bright and stuff, right?
My elementary school teacher told me not to look at the sun.
You'll go blind.
The biggest thing that I do like about the game is how eager it has made people to do stuff with other people.
Yeah, it does feel like every
coming
turn...
from BDO after a long time, the game has made it. The game makes it so that like people, there's always people trying to do something. Like they're either trying to group up to do portals, or group up to go take a fort, or just group up to do Great Cleave missions, or group up to do random dungeons. And that's been the nicest part about it. Just because like obviously I have my BDO for that solo main character fix, but like it's nice to goof off on New World here and there for the group content with the boys.
Yeah, I think like it's been really noticeable for me where I'm like really love min-maxing. It's one of my favorite things to do. And a lot of times in this game, if you help out a teammate, almost always across the board, that is not to your benefit. Because you're losing progress somewhere else. It's not efficient. In this game, it's almost like it's very natural, right, for people to just come together and be like, hey, I have a whole bunch of flux. You need flux. Hey, you need like a really good tool. I'll give you a tool. And like, I don't even care at the end of the day if it actually works out well, right? Like because it's just like the way the game is designed has made it where I kind of almost naturally want to, it doesn't matter to me, right? The min-max doesn't matter as much as helping other players, where in almost every game I've played, the min-max matters more to me than helping other players. Where I feel like that's the opposite in New World. And it's probably another really strong suit of it. I really hope they get crafting right in the future. Like balance-wise.
With that being said, though, I'm not at the point where I see the game lasting more than 2 months right now.
Yeah,
personally.
I think
Like
that,
I really enjoyed the first month and a half. Fucking amazing, really good. But I just don't have the trust in them to add that longevity that the game can have, which is sad because they literally had like 903,000 players trying to play at the same time on Sunday. Like that's shooter and MOBA game numbers. That's not even MMO numbers. Like that's crazy, right?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, dead game.
One of the things that I think is the hardcore player base is going to die off really fast in this game, whether because of lack of competition or because of lack of things to do or whatever the case may be. Like they have, whatever. But I think the casual audience will be playing it 24/7. I don't think they'll ever stop because for us, I've already played the game over 200 hours already, and you think of like a casual player, you play 20 hours a week, and that's a good amount if you got a full-time job and kids and family and all that. Like 20 hours a week, that's 10 weeks of content from what I just did. And
Yeah, the amount of time for $40 is pretty top notch, honestly.
Yeah.
I will say.
Let me buck you on that for a second. I think the self-proclaimed hardcore players that we know now have a high percent chance of not lasting within the game, and then we are going to have a lull for 48 weeks, and then we're going to have another rise of the hardcore gamers that are actually zealots for the game that will actually kind of don the crown of being the hardcore gamers. You can't just come in here and go, I won Albion last season, I'm a hardcore gamer, I'm going to say edgy things, and the first time you lose, your entire guild falls apart and you hate the game and all that kind of shit. That doesn't make you a hardcore gamer. That makes you a cunt. So I don't think we're really in the position to identify who's a hardcore gamer in this game yet. Maybe the next podcast or two we'll have a better idea.
That's always predicated on the fact that they either do or don't drop content, right? That's all that is. So if they could drop content every 4 weeks and this game will never die, right? Right. But assuming they
drain
drop
our
content,
resources, they're going to drain our resources.
Yeah, assuming they drop content every 3 months, like Destiny or Path of Exile or other games that are similar to this style then I do think the hardcore players will fall out and only come back for big updates, which will probably be like once a year.
Right, but I think the reasonable expectation of regular content updates that we've all come to expect through MMOs and even Destiny, if you can call that an MMO, is outside of that conversation. I think that's something that has to stand on its own.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, well, and time will tell for sure, like what they end up wanting to do for the game and how that'll pan out. This is my prediction: is that the hardcore players will fall off and the casual players will always have something to do.
Bro, First Light's looking good, dude.
We're getting there.
I had somebody message me yesterday wanting to join Aftershock because they just loved First Light so much. I forgot to tell you about that. I figured you'd take a little pride in that. You guys want to move on to the Twitch leaks?
Oh, of course.
Whoa.
Any top 10,000 in chat right now?
Not me.
No, you didn't make it?
No, I didn't make a top 10,000.
Kerr, were you top 10?
No, of course not.
You were, right, Moreland?
Yeah.
It was like 6,000 something, weren't you? Anyway, for people who don't know what's going on, basically Facebook had some type of problem, right?
What the fuck?
What happened with Facebook that Twitch made fun of?
No, it's nothing. Right, so Facebook went down, Instagram, Facebook, like everything, and I guess Twitter was the only thing up, and Twitch made a tweet was like, "Ooh, make your Facebook's down memes in here." Right. Meanwhile, they had already been hacked by this gray hat hacker, I guess is the correct term to put it. So that's been kind of shoved in their face. But basically what had happened, or what has happened, is Twitch got severely hacked to where their Steam competition launching program thing was leaked. I think like a bunch of their intellectual property on like just basically all of Twitch was leaked. Like, you could take this information and build your own Twitch. And on top of that, they leaked the top 10,000 earners 1099s from September 2019 to October 1st in all their earnings. So that's subs, ad revenue, what do they call them? Bounties and bits. And so it doesn't include donations and all that other stuff or outside sources. So, it's not what everybody makes streaming, but it did list the top 10,000 straight from the revenue, which what that effectively does is it's a little uncomfortable for some streamers, and I can definitely get that. But now YouTube and any other competitor that wants to try to buy popular people out, now they know exactly what they have to offer to get them out of there. Exactly what to offer.
Yeah, they can't. It takes away their bargaining ability because they say, "Well, that deal's not good enough for me," and YouTube would have to assume that, "Oh, well, maybe they make way more money on Twitch." But now they know, okay, they made $2 million over the last 3 years. They're probably making $1 million a year. We'll offer them 1.5, and they'll take the deal.
Yeah, and apparently this is a multi-phase thing. Like, they really pissed somebody off. I would like to point out that I was number 9,801. I did make the list.
Damn, big money.
Congrats.
Big money.
You're rich.
Big money.
Big
Yeah.
money.
Big fucking money.
Um,
It spawned some like interesting conversations about, your favorite content creators and how much money they make, or, if they're full time, and you can see the revenue from Twitch, and
Yeah.
you have to assume that they get, it's maybe half or something of what they get total, or maybe even a little more.
So you guys really think that companies didn't know how much these streamers were making before this leak?
I mean, there's ways you can like estimate and stuff like that, but the exact number, I don't think they had the exact number. Like a lot of these deals, at least, especially sponsorship deals, are done behind closed doors, and they intentionally don't tell so that they can get better deals.
I don't think it's that hard to figure out how much a streamer makes, given this, the fact that this is just subs, bits, and ads. You know how much subs someone has. You can guess what their split of that sub revenue is. There's probably a generic formula for what percentage or how much bits a streamer gets per sub, that marketing companies already know. I'm pretty sure that all these guys could guess within a 5% margin of error what these numbers already were before this was leaked. I don't actually think this is any new information from the industry side. I think that the public is probably shocked by some of these numbers, even though they could figure this out pretty easily as well if they put the effort in. But I don't think anyone from the industry is shocked by any of these numbers. I think they knew exactly what these numbers were the whole time.
I think you may underestimate corporate ignorance a little bit there and being out of touch. I think as streamers, we have a pretty good idea of how much each other are making, especially if you show us a sub count. You can scroll through and see how many bits are happening this month. Like it's pretty easy for us to. There was 2 people I was surprised at when I went through. I searched all my favorite people because I was happy for them, right? I was happy that these people were making money and doing well. And there's 2 people I was like, oh, fuck, he's actually really doing well, So not everybody puts their sub count out there. Not everybody has that bar where you can see what's happening this month. Like Potion doesn't put his like monthly subs or weekly subs or whatever.
Yeah, but you can still find out someone's sub count, can't you?
No, not unless they consensually give those websites the information. So you have to sign up to share your sub counts with those websites.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually, I think that maybe for YouTube's big enough organization, they probably know that kind of stuff. But given like a lot of small people who want to actually do sponsorship deals, now they have kind of like a starting point to kind of know like how much support they're getting. They can make sure that's kind of authentic, right? Before, you have to kind of guess if it's like botted or, embedded or something.
Yeah, if somebody's fudging it, like there is real value in the hard, accurate numbers. So I thought mine was a little low, and I tried to go back in my Twitch dashboard and try to figure out if it was actually correct. I thought it was off by about $5,000 or something, and it actually wouldn't show me. I think they turned it off or whatever.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
So my reaction to all this was, first of all, I was shocked by my own rank. The idea that I'm in the top 10,000 on this website is a travesty.
Right? Right?
What that shows to me is that there are less than 5,000 people on this website who are making enough money to actually have a decent living. And that to me is just utterly shocking. If I had to guess my rank in terms of revenue on this website, I would have thought maybe 50,000. That's the fact that I'm number 6,000 is utterly shocking to me. Just wow.
I don't know,
Twitch.
dude. I mean, you can't even go work at McDonald's and make a livable wage, or go work at Wendy's.
You would make more than I made.
You definitely
to
would
that
make
leak.
more than you would make on Twitch. That is true. But
So I mean,
Well, and on top of that, Twitch has 1,000 employees, so that means the top 5,000 are basically supporting like 20% of all the money they make on Twitch goes to fund just the full-time people.
not to mention the fact that at least McDonald's will help you out with your healthcare if you work there full time. I mean, Twitch
And you
doesn't
get
do
free
that.
meals when you work there.
good luck getting
Free French fries. I'm not
but-
here to defend McDonald's, Kurt. Jesus Christ!
I get what
bro.
you're saying though, but I'm just saying that like in the like gig industry, because this is kind of could be considered similar. I don't know. I just kind of had the opposite view where I would see that in the gig industry that you wouldn't theoretically make as much as like a stable job or stable employment.
Right, but if you're like an Uber driver, you're not signing a contract with Uber saying that you're not going to, that A, you're going to drive a certain number of hours a week, and B, you're not going to work with any other companies. Like, I have an exclusivity clause and I have a minimum number of streams per week clause, and I'm still considered a contractor and not an employee, and I have to pay all my own self-employment taxes. I don't get any help with benefits or anything like that. It's not like Twitch is hurting for money.
I mean, that is true,
right?
Yeah, I give you
Like,
that, yeah.
it's not like they're fucking struggling over there, but we are. The creators are. I can tell you, especially living in Southern California, it's been pretty fucking rough, dude. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that there's PayPal and that some of my top supporters can donate through there, and they have, shown up to do that, the income from Twitch is not enough to live off of. And I always thought that was just a consequence of me being kind of unlikable. I didn't realize that every fucking other person on this platform is suffering as much as I am, dude. I'm number 6,000. That's a fucking emergency, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah. Well, break your neck when I'm 9,000, right? I can't believe I made that list. But also, you need to update your contract, because that's not in anybody else's contract. The streaming a certain amount of times per day or per week. That's old shit, dude. That's super old shit.
I guess I've just been here for too long.
Yeah, you need to actually you need to figure out when your 2-year thing is up and renegotiate that.
Well, I don't have any reason to negotiate less streams unless I'm going to go get a real job. And at that point, it's a moot point. But it's still like the fact that they, treat us like employees, but they don't give us any of the benefits of being employees is what I'm getting at.
Yep. I mean, the bottom of it, right? Well, I mean, that's right. That's the gig thing. That's a 1099. But like the bottom, the 10,000 was what, $20,000 over the past 2 years or something like that, just through Twitch. I was astonished when I was on that list. My Discord was like, "Tim, you made it. You're top 10,000." I'm like, "No, what? Really? Like this is 2 years of income." And then the Twitter thing is like, people are freaking out because the top 200 make a comfortable living for being the most popular people on the like 30th most popular website in the world.
Yeah. I don't really mind that.
Like the backlash off of that from those fucking idiots was so, was so cringy.
Yeah,
Like,
people are always going to be mad when they find out someone else is successful. However,
literally donating to millionaires, like, fuck you.
I do think there is one case in which getting upset about how much money someone makes is legitimate, and that is Hassan.
Why?
Yeah, we're all on the same page here.
No, I guess it's fine, actually,
Who
now
is
I
that?
think about it.
It's like a revolutionary
Exactly.
socialist. He's like
No.
doesn't believe in capitalism
What?
and private property.
But I
he's
bet he
making
owns
millions
a
of
lot.
dollars.
I bet he has millions and has lots of private property.
He sure does.
That's usually how that works. I believe people shouldn't have very much money and be able to make their own living.
Because I
But
should
do
have
you
all
make
the
a lot
money.
of money? Yes.
Yeah, he just bought like a $3 million home or something last month. He got in trouble for that too. So I just love the fact that, I don't know. I just love the fact that his income is now fully leaked.
Yeah,
It's just
my
like the bootstrappers, dude. The people that like pick yourself up by the bootstraps, but they didn't bootstrap themselves. So it's like some kind of gatekeeping in a way.
my buddy Sneaky Feet said the same thing, dude. We were drinking last night together. He was like, dude, the amount of money Hassan makes off of that, like, people have got to be upset about it. I'm like,
Oh, it's so
yeah.
many of his viewers are betrayed right now. What? What he does? He makes how much? I thought capitalism was bad.
Wow,
Yeah.
imagine anime betrayal.
I do feel like this is going to force some people who are like betraying their community, like, man, I just don't have enough money to get pizza today, and then like they're making $1 million a year, you know, like there definitely gonna be a few communities that are gonna be put off by this in a huge way. I think people who are living honestly with with their community and being upfront, I think most of those people just understand, and I don't think anything would change.
I mean, but do people really not think like? Do you think people really like that watch like Pokimane or something? Do they really not know that this person is like rolling in the
Copium,
dough?
dude. Copium.
Like, of course
I
they
don't,
gotta
I don't
know.
think they're watching that closely, bro. I really
Some
think that
do,
they
some
aren't paying
don't.
attention.
Like if you go to Quinn's stream, they always pick on Quinn, and they always do TTS. So the TTS always like loads up there and like, hey, imagine giving money to a millionaire. Here's another $3, millionaire, and like they'll do messages like that. And so some of them are it's like super obvious, but other ones like I don't know if they don't show their sub count, they don't have TTS. Like I
So
don't
there
think
was
this is a
one
good
of the
way to
top
hide it.
earners on there was __unknown__, and I didn't check the Twitch. I just wanted to believe it was like the top 20. I just wanted to believe it was Doc, because one of my favorite Doc clips is him getting he just read a random chat message. Wow, imagine donating to a millionaire. And then he like stops what he's doing in his BR and he looks at the camera and goes, no, you got it fucking wrong. You got it fucking wrong. Multi-millionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I think even because it's from 2019, I think he's on that list, dude. I think he was a cash cow for Twitch, man.
It's gotta be.
He raked it in. I think he raked it in.
He that wasn't much of his income either, because he was banned quite a while ago now. So that was just a small, given how far back this data goes, that was a pretty small glimpse.
Promise he's on that list. Promise he's on that list.
Are there any other banned streamers on there? There's gotta be, right?
Has to be, maybe. So personally, I was like really weirded out that like my income on my side hustle thing was leaked all over the internet and like this massive thing. Like I consider myself a pretty normal person, and to have something like that disseminated across the internet was uncomfortable, to say the least, in the very beginning. And I know, I've met enough I guess top streamers on that list to know that we are largely just normal people. So I felt a little invaded by that. Did you have that same? I mean, the rest of you, right? Like if you weren't on the list, then they know you make less than this. And if you are on the list, they know exactly what you made. Did you guys have that kind of like weird, like, oh, okay.
I mean, I
this
thought it
is
was pretty
uncomfortable.
common knowledge that people ain't really you're either making nothing on Twitch or you're making a lot on Twitch. I mean, and like YouTube, the same for YouTube. I thought that was like pretty common knowledge, or at least that's the way I saw
YouTube,
it.
there's an algorithm where you can go on a website and really figure out how much money somebody's making, right? So like if somebody's like, I'm making 20 grand a month, you type in their name, you go, no, you're an asshole. But with Twitch, there's you can just not show your sub count and nobody ever knows, right? Like Dank RNG just puts a 9 in front of his sub count, pretends he's doing well. That's a joke.
I don't know. I feel like the fact that I'm so broke and that's been leaked will make people feel bad and give me more money. So ultimately, I feel like I'm going to benefit from this.
It wasn't weird for you at all?
I don't know. It's not really something I think about. I don't think it bothered me really.
Has any of your personal information ever been so publicly leaked? Like your income is personal.
Would you
like,
just rather people think that you're raking it in than more than you really are?
In a car once, you told me what your sub count was in 2018, and that's like the most personal thing you've ever told me. I'm kidding.
I think to you that's the most personal thing. I think to me it's not something I really think about that much or care about that much. Other than the fact that it is actually pretty fucking expensive to live down here.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, I think the gravity of the situation is kind of unknown to how severe the leak really is, and what those people plan to do with that information. And so I don't really care as much about the leak, but more about like what the people who accomplished the leak want to do with it, right? Because that's a
I'm
bigger issue for me.
I'm glad
Yeah,
you
I'm
brought
glad they
that up.
didn't publish my address. That would have bothered me.
So
But,
I
my
think
income, I don't know. I don't know if I care.
I was uncomfortable with it. I've gotten over it because I just embraced it. I'm a top 10,000 earning streamer. I gotta make a shirt, right? I think but Potion brings up a good point. I think I hope at least is what they're doing with this whole thing is trying to empower somebody to create their own platform, which is something we have brought up many times on this podcast that we'd all be interested in, is a separate platform, a 50-50 split for majority of creators, like 99.7% of creators is insane. We could go to only or Chatterbait in fucking stream video games and get a better split off the money. So that's archaic and terrible. So I think just off of that and having that information leak gives me hope that it's going to make them tighten up and figure it out.
Do you think it's a coding issue that's holding the competition back? I don't think Twitch's source code being out there is much of an advantage. I think Twitch's source code is probably not that good. I think that their advantage is that they were the first people to do it, and they have all the biggest streamers, and they have emotes and features that for some reason other platforms have failed to innovate off of. I don't really think streaming has really changed or done much in the 5 years since I've started doing it. I really think it's just a lack of people actually trying.
How long did it take YouTube
Twitch
to get clips? How long did it take YouTube to get clips?
Yeah, but that's what I mean is that can't be because the coding for clips is difficult. Like, I don't think the source code. I don't think Google's over there like, fuck, we just can't figure out. None of our guys are smart enough. Oh God, we have Twitch's code. We finally know how to make a streaming website now. Like, I just don't see that as the barrier.
This conversation of like why people don't run another streamer business is not really in any of our warehouses. If I had to take a gander, it's probably just too expensive to get started, or it's not very profitable. I mean, there are like 2 or 3 other streaming services that are out there right now.
DLive.
Yeah, there's like 2 or 3 others. And I don't know. Like I would assume it's just the cost of it and like profitability of it's too low.
There's no way that sharing all of Twitch's deepest secrets on their coding and how the websites worked doesn't help another platform come up. You know what I mean? It's chicken soup.
Well, Twitch was already like out there trying to sell their source code to other platforms to start the same thing. I think.
Yeah, but now it's there for free. How does that hurt? How does that hurt the cause of trying to better the competition?
Probably not. I don't think Amazon will even. I don't know, dude. It's hard to say because Amazon is Amazon.
I don't think it's going to change anything in the long run, other than kind of making the streamers and the Twitch audience a little less trusting of Twitch, which they already have pretty low trust levels to begin with. So I think it might be the only thing that really changes is just that the player trust is going to be, or the user trust is going to be a little lower than it was.
A little more optimistic on this, and we'll see what apparently there's going to be more. Hopefully, it's not our addresses.
Yeah, we'll have to. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to be what they do with that data is going to determine, I think, a lot of stuff.
The color of their hat.
Like, if people have like their addresses leaked and then they start getting DDoSed or their IPs leaked, and they start getting like, I don't know, if some people start getting harassed on Twitch, I mean that's going to have huge implications for the website.
Harassment on Twitch, what a foreign idea.
Yeah, but anyway, it's pretty bad. What happened with Facebook again? What was the original thing that Twitch was poking at them for?
Facebook and Instagram went down for like 8 hours or something, and the world stopped for.
Yeah, it was a huge deal. Apparently,
the world stopped for those people.
It probably wasn't a bad thing. The world got a better place for 8 hours. All right.
Yeah, it's like us being in a queue for this game, right? Like we all cleaned our house,
Yeah, we actually became better people because of the queue.
Our cats are fed.
What are news we have going on this week?
Aftershock wins again.
There's been like always news every week of Activision, but it's kind of like being the same old horse now.
Oh yeah, Battlefield 2042 beta came out, and it seems as buggy as every other Battlefield beta that's ever
Is
come
it
out.
better or worse than New World's bugs?
It's the same shooter that's been released for the past 20 years, and nobody cares except for people that make millions off of streaming it. So like now we know who those people are, and it's 30 people care. 30 people care. And their followers. And everybody else that'll play it for 2 hours go, oh, it's Battlefield, and then go back to what they were playing before. For some reason, it's Valorant, which is the most big dog shit game in the world, but that's a separate conversation.
What's going on with BDO? They've done a crap load of stuff. They have a hot time event, a fishing event. I don't know. They've done a crap load of stuff as far as events go this week, haven't they?
Yeah, Kerr, what's going on with BDO?
Are you playing the same game?
Yeah, haven't they done a lot of events this week?
I'm sorry, real quick. I have somebody defending in chat that making $25,000 to $30,000 a year streaming 80 hours a week every week is like a fine income. It's really great.
I would love to make 25 grand a year from streaming on Twitch. That would be a lot more than what I currently do. Can that person do math?
They should have done a 1 year snapshot instead of 2019 until now. Because
that's 26 months of income, bro. That's not 1 year of income. Take a second look at the data, homie.
Sorry. Yeah, so what's up with BDO?
All right, I'm pulling up it because Kira's been playing coy.
All I know is they did a AFK fishing event. They did an AFK fishing event. They came out with the second dungeon. It's like an underwater based dungeon. Just the dungeon number 2 of 4. And that's pretty much the highlights of BDO this week.
This man's streaming because there's drops. Holy shit.
Yeah, there's Twitch drops. There's a fishing event. Fishing for silver and gold. There is a getting ready for Season Plus graduation with some type of hot time event. I'm trying to read through it here.
Basically, people were supposed to be able to graduate a week ago and start the little silver sync to get discounted pin boss gear. But they only gave it to Korea and they delayed it for everybody else for 2 weeks. So they're like, hey, we have this little hot top thing where we give you season mats and some fail stacks. We're sorry. So that's basically
I haven't been following BO closely, obviously, but I keep having people come in my chat and ask me what I think about like free pen gear and shit. Is it as bad as everyone's making it out to be?
No, it's not free. Basically, it has a lot of silver syncs involves like a couple hundred memory fragments. There's a weekly quest. You got to kill bosses, and basically the way they did it is every piece you get costs more or has more of a silver sync than the last. So you can get your first piece of armor for like 8 million silver, but the fourth piece of armor will be like 16 billion silver. So it's like so the cheapest will be 8 bill roughly for the first pin piece of armor, and then the last one, the fourth one, will be like 16 billion silver.
What is the market value of pin armor right now? Can't be higher than 16 bill, is it?
Can I ask a more important question? How much does it cost to get a
15 bill?
How much does it cost to get a 10 armor through Kaffir's to pen?
A lot, because Kaffir's is 3 bill or 3 mil max price.
So the new water dungeon got added to the game this week. That was the big thing, I guess.
Yeah.
So the new water dungeon got added, and they have an event they have several events going on for that for looks like 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. They do have a really cool boss.
Do you think the Koi event was tactically responding to New World, or do you think it's just a coincidence?
I think the drops respond to New World.
I mean, there's always a Koi event / drops whenever a new game comes out that's even closely related to the genre. So, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah, the best thing to do when Amazon releases a game is to give Amazon money. Exactly. Here, Twitch. Here, have some money for some Twitch drops because you released a game. I think it's ironic at the very least. I don't know about the
I'm
fishing
sure
event.
Pearl Abyss makes more than Amazon does from drops, right? I mean, it's a mutually beneficial arrangement, but I think the game probably benefits more than the platform. How many more, like, I feel like drops bring the BDO directory up by, 3 or 4x, whereas it brings up Twitch as a platform 0.01%. So it's like, I think they're doing okay.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think it's having diminishing returns though, because I've done so many drops recently, and it's always kind of.
It's shitty rewards. They got to put good rewards. That's the diminishing.
Well, that's true for sure.
There's
fucking pain armor for watching Twitch. That's what they got to do, bro.
Yikes.
Could you imagine it'd be 100,000 people
Don't give them
watching it?
ideas.
Yeah, that'll put us at the top of the directory.
There'd be 100,000 people watching that.
People watch the last fucking BDO streamer live to get their 15 crowns a day, dude. There's no diminishing returns on that whatsoever. The whole secret, like, that better than anybody. Posh, like,
No,
not
I mean,
disrespectful,
that's
like,
why
you
I
were
say
live
that.
as long as you farmed the shit out of it.
That's-
because people wanted their 15 crowns that bad.
That's why I mention it, because I pulled in like almost like 5,000 viewers when it first happened, because it was so rare and the loot was like okay. And nowadays no one gets even close to that number. It just went down and down and down and down and down. And I attributed that to diminishing returns. People getting tired of it. But
But do you guys feel like the drops really matter from a streamer perspective? Because it's not really about you. It's just to get the shit and peace out.
the only thing you can do with it is you play a lot of ads, because the people who are watching don't care to watch, and the people and like,
literally, like, if you're not
Yeah.
playing ads, it's just like a personal gratification thing. It doesn't really benefit you.
I just
anyway.
played ads like every like 15 minutes. I'd play another 3-minute ad.
That's amazing.
I made like
Jesus.
I made like $1,000 one month just from ads because of that. Like
Fuck, dude.
it does work pretty well at that point.
Jesus. 15 minutes.
You
and
don't
ad.
notice any residual growth after the drops end. You don't notice like your views are 10% higher or something. It's just
My
all-
brand recognition is way higher because of it, but my actual viewer count doesn't really change a whole lot. Like my viewer
Interesting.
count, it doesn't really. I mean, maybe it went up by like maybe 5 to 20 or something, but it's like nothing huge.
Yeah, that's kind of what I always suspected with drops. It's one of the reasons I didn't go too hard, because I wanted people to watch my stream if they wanted to watch my stream.
Bro, I tried
and not for any other
everything
reason.
underneath the moon to try to get people to sub. I'd be like, bro, all right, we get the next sub. Like, I'm going to flip upside down. I'm going to level character 62. It just didn't have any impact over what would normally happen. And so those people that come in there, they're there for one purpose. They mute your stream if they can, and they're not watching. They're just not interacting at all. They're effectively just embeds. That's the same thing, really.
If we're having a conversation about drops, the thing I want to talk about is BDO is kind where they like, watch your favorite streamer get stuff. That's cool. If you stay on longer than other people and you just, you're polite to everyone and you get hosts and all that kind of stuff, then, you can end up like Optimus Prime I saw, or whatever, by fucking Daisy had like 3,000 viewers this morning or something. And I was like, oh shit. Oh, there's drop. Oh, cool. Good for him. Cause he streams at weird hours, collects all of them. He's a really nice guy and he deserves it. Right. Like, cool. But for New World, having the top 50 people that were paid something close to a couple $1 million, I think it was, what they spent, 20, 15, something like that, $1 million for 50 streamers.
Yeah, but no one's going to argue about that. Everyone's going to say that was
I'm going to argue it right now. So giving drops on top of all of that money to only them punishes people like us that are very excited and actual zealots of the game to watch us create content where they literally get physical items in the game to watch other people that are probably almost certainly definitely not going to stick to it and go back to like their opening Final Fantasy 14 shit on their New World streams while they have drops, right? Thank you, Square Enix. Well, the rest of us are out here in the fucking trenches and our viewership is fucking punished for watching us because they don't get these in-game items.
My viewership hasn't really, I don't feel like, been adversely affected. The same people come by who are going to watch me
They're
either
still
way.
punished. It doesn't matter how it is affected.
But, like,
they are still punished.
No one's going to argue with you that everyone shouldn't have drops. No one's going to argue
because
that.
I'm right. Yeah.
Yeah, like, so, I mean, that's what they decided to do, and it is what it is.
Well, someone would argue. Apparently, Amazon would argue.
Give them $1 million and drops, right? Just do both.
So I don't know. I don't see it as like the end of the world. It is unfortunate for people who don't know what drops are. Because
I feel like it's a pretty big deal, man. I definitely felt slapped in the face when I found out that only certain people are going to get drops, especially when I've gotten all these fucking emails from Amazon claiming that I'm part of some sort of content creator program, which doesn't actually appear to exist. The whole thing has left a pretty bad taste in my mouth. I do think it's worth pointing out. They could be doing a much better job here.
Yeah,
I'm not being salty. Like so it was cool when BDO had like when they first did the drops, it was only for the partners, like the very first time they had it, because we bitched and moaned for how many years for it. And so I thought that was appropriate. And then right after that, it's always been everybody. So water kind of seeks its own level. If somebody really wants to grind it, like people have gotten partner in BDO. Multiple people have been Twitch partnered because of Twitch drops and them farming it, which is a separate conversation for me. But, the fact that somebody can just work it and really put out their content and all that kind of stuff is way better than literally punishing Moreland TV, Tim Allen, Potion Shop, and Kerr, and everybody else in Aftershock or whoever was in those top 50 that got paid a shitload of money. They're being punished. It's fucked.
Well, all right.
And then when Moreland sends a message going, hey, I'm a 200 viewer Andy, I've got 40,000 followers. I'd like to support your game and be a part of the conversation here. And they go, here's a JPEG or whatever.
A press kit, yeah. Here's a folder full of screenshots.
Literally
for the creator program.
Exactly. Like that's ridiculous.
I don't think it's like, how do I say this? I don't think it's something that the majority of people who are listening care about. It's something that we as streamers care about a lot. And I think as viewers of our streams, our viewers would care, like, yeah, that's not fair. But I think the average player doesn't really get adversely affected.
And let me explain really quickly.
And I also want to explain what drops are, because I think there's a lot of people who don't even understand what that even is.
Okay.
For drops, drops are basically this thing that a company makes an account. They basically put in it links to an API which can give you in-game items. So you watch your favorite streamer, your favorite YouTuber, whatever the case is. In this case, it's Twitch only, right? But you watch your Twitch streamer for 5 hours and you get an exclusive armor in the game. That's an example. And so, ideally, everybody would want this because, you don't want your viewers to feel like they're getting punished for watching their personal favorite streamer over watching someone else who's not their personal streamer that they like watching. And so that's where the argument is coming up here, where it's a fairly big deal that the streamers who are putting in their hard effort to stream are not getting rewarded equally. And it's, again, the people at the very top are getting disproportionately rewarded for their effort put in, and it's not equal across the board.
So here's where it matters. Go ahead, Marlon, please.
I was going to say it's more than not being equally rewarded. It actively discourages you from watching a smaller streamer. You're not going to watch two streams at the same time. So by Amazon explicitly saying you have to watch this subset of people who already have 4 and 5 digit viewers, you have to watch them. That directly means less people watching smaller streamers. Of course it does.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, look at what some of these people. Shroud's stream hasn't been this big in literally years. And what's his take on this game? What's a lot of these guys' big take on this game? They're here for this, not for the game. When so many of us have dedicated months and years to this, and we're marginalized by the people who are trying to promote their game because they're too ignorant to realize that they're being used. I don't even understand what the thought process.
I don't think it's ignorance, dude. I think it's more just that like we are ants. Like I honestly think we're just not significant. I think someone who streams to 100,
Feels
200,
that way,
300
yeah.
viewers does not matter to Amazon's scale of what they're trying to do. Like you just don't matter. You might as well have 10 viewers at that point.
But like me personally, I don't like any of these fucking guys that are.
And I think
streaming
the
with drops.
fault
I'm not gonna watch
fall-
them. I don't get drops. That's it.
The fault falls more on like the company more so than the streamers. I mean, who was going to turn down $1 million to sit there and actively shit on the game and get paid, right?
No, it's not there. They didn't vet them, right? They didn't find like.
I know that.
gem
I'm
was
just saying
working
that
on.
like the fault is not the streamers that have the drops. The fault is on
Of
the
course.
company that paid for
Of
the
course.
drops.
Of course.
Yeah, I still like Shroud, even though his takes are bad on this game.
Yeah, I think Stroud's done like the game didn't match up with what he wanted to play, and so he's taking out that frustration on the game. But it is doing well for his stream, and I think overall he has a good person, at least from what I know. I personally just don't really care, to be honest. Like, I don't make enough money
Yeah,
on.
we can tell.
I don't. Let me finish.
Even our viewers, like my chat is like, bro, Potion, we care. Like they don't want to be forced to watch somebody they don't want to watch. They want to watch who they like.
Yeah, I get that, but
I'm just neutral about it personally.
Really?
For like,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
mean,
gonna-
it's just how I don't know, dude. I that's the way you kind of get expected, right? Like, I mean, you watch YouTube, they're gonna more so
Yeah.
recommend, and the pressure is gonna be more weighed towards the people that are already there, right?
Yeah, they're
More
going to
so
favor the
than, like,
established.
everybody.
Yeah, they're always going to favor the established. Like that's just how it's going to work out in the long run.
And I do understand this is different, right? This is different in the sense that it's like, okay, they're saying, no, you have to watch these 50 people to get these in-game items or you won't get them. That's obviously that's like a more extreme, level of it. But that's just kind of how it is, right? Sadly.
As far as things that New World has to fix, like I would much rather them fix big problems in a game and make those like, strengths of the game than them fix Twitch drops. I really
That's a false dichotomy. That's completely different people working on those things. They don't even live in the same office.
like that's personally what I would like. That's why I personally care more about. Like at least for right now, like my personal things that I care a lot about, like Twitch drops, like all that stuff. I just don't. It's nice, but it's not going to get to the point where it affects me. Like if I have Twitch drops, maybe I get an extra 20 viewers, and that equals like one more sub. Like I don't know. I just don't. I just don't.
For me, it's more about the relationship that you're cultivating with the people who genuinely love your game.
Yeah.
And it's about choosing to prop up people who don't need it, frankly, and go out of your way to punish the people who genuinely love your product and are putting their heart into supporting what you're doing because they love what you're doing and they want to support you, and that's it, rather than the people who are being paid to do it, who are now getting another reward on top of being paid. It's like, I'm not saying that drops are going to fucking save my stream. That's not the point of this. To me, it's more about just the attitude that this company seems to have towards the people who genuinely like the game and are streaming it for free because they want to play it and not because they're being paid for it.
Yeah, I don't like the sentiment behind it, and like I'm not disagreeing with what you guys are saying. It's just for me personally, it's a low priority.
A little bit. Yeah, it could be a low priority, and you can still agree with it. You know what I mean? I understand.
Well,
that.
I said I agree with you.
Why are you neutral on it, Kerr?
I'm neutral on it because it's like, I mean, did you ever really expect Amazon to ever give a fuck about cultivating an actual good relationship with creators in the first place?
Yes.
Yeah, an Amazon Game Studio? Sure. I mean, this isn't fucking like this isn't Amazon delivery service. This is Amazon Game Studios. These are game designers who were hired by Amazon. This isn't like people who ran a warehouse who suddenly switched over to game design. These should be us. These should be gamers that are
I don't
working
know.
for this company. They should care about this sort of thing.
Everything I've
Like
seen,
just because they're under the Amazon brand doesn't mean they're all Jeff Bezos.
I don't believe gamers make games much anymore, especially for these big ones. Personally, like these big companies, I don't think people making these games are making them as gamers that they get for games they want to enjoy. I mean, I think a lot of it is about the bottom dollar.
So you're neutral
comes
about it
for these
because you
big games.
expected it?
yeah, my expectations for their
Yeah.
my expectations were extremely
Come on,
low
man,
for
you're
it.
better than
Like
that.
Twitch has never cared much, right? They care about the money more, and they've shown it time and time and time again. Amazon has never cared. They care about their money. Amazon delivery or Amazon games, web servers, whatever it is.
I just
like-
don't think so. Did you meet any of the Amazon devs, bro? Have you talked to them?
I
Like
think-
they're
I
fucking
think-
gamers,
I think
dude. They're
the-
not all psychopaths.
No,
Like,
that's
you
not
guys
the
are
same
going
thing.
Way too hard here.
But
That's
they
not-
don't have control.
That's
the
not-
people
yeah, that's
that
the same
are
thing.
actually relatable and going to be gamers and people
Yeah,
actually
the
enjoy the game,
people.
they're not going to have any control or say in anything that actually matters when it comes to this like PR stuff / like monetization and making these decisions.
Yeah,
like I
the-
guarantee the guys that you met at TwitchCon, like there's not the people that are able deciding any of this.
That's true. The marketing guys don't play video games at all. So.
And, like
look at
this-
the guy I met,
This is
the guys we
challenge.
met at TwitchCon, like they're awesome. Like they're every person you meet, they're good people in most cases. And so like I don't think the developers don't care. I don't think that like the people working for Amazon don't care, but the people who are in charge just don't care, right? They care about making their investors happy. They make sure they're like invested in making sure that Amazon game servers or Amazon games continues being a thing, so they don't lose their $300,000 a year paycheck.
Okay. So I look at this as like a personal challenge where I can't wait until they invite me to the partner program and I get to tell them how fucked it was to be right here, right now in the fucking mistakes. Like that'll be absolution for me. So I see it as a challenge. I'm going to get to that point. I'll be there. They'll recognize it. I have no doubt of that at all. And I can't wait to tell them what just a dipshit idea this whole launch was with how they dealt with content creators.
I don't think anyone under 1,000 viewers has a chance of ever being noticed by this company. I think it's just way under the scale that they're trying to operate at.
I'll bet you $20.
You're on, dude.
Wait, but
CC money.
didn't he technically already win? Because they literally let anybody in their partner program.
No. I'm not trying to like steal $20 from Orland because he's higher on the fucking list. Although I did ask Mr. Happy. I did ask Mr. Happy 1227 and Ravage for $20 today. Anybody who's
Yeah.
like higher than me, I'm like, hey, can I borrow $20?
That's a good plan. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to go down the list.
Ravage told me the 50th person to ask. Shout out to Ravage TTV. But I sincerely think that this game is going to have a big fucking dip. And my entire fucking plan for streaming this game, dedicating myself to it, having the people on board that I do, and running this guild is to not only survive the dip, but thrive through it. And I think they're eventually going to go, we literally can't pay people to play this game right now. How do we highlight people that are sincerely enjoying and make the best out of it? And I think that's what's going to make the difference.
I thought I had low expectations, but I think you just exceeded my low expectations there.
Bro, Smash is number 9,801 trying to make a bet with number 5,898.
Maybe let's make that 40
Smash
two to
is a
1
god,
odds.
bro.
2 to 1 odds, maybe.
Man, I wish there was
No
like a
shit.
badge that showed your numbers or
Right?
something.
Top 10,000. Let's wear shirts, bro. We'll put
We
like
need to make the
Oh.
shirts. We
Yeah.
absolutely need to make the shirts.
shirts, bro. Let's make
Jesus.
shirts.
Fucking Smash, man.
Okay. Anything else, boys?
Mm,
Been to Home Depot lately, Potion?
nah, I avoided a place after getting a sunburn.
Yeah, you should go to Home Depot for 5 minutes.
Get a
Pick up a
little,
plant.
getting a little pasty.
Apparently, there's an add-on that shows the number next to every streamer.
Really?
Yeah, like a Chrome add-on. What do you mean?
Wow.
I'm gonna get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. I'm just putting it in my Twitch title. Wear that shit like a badge, man.
Holy shit, dude. That's amazing.
I know good marketing when I see it. Let's wrap this up. Thank you guys for listening. This is episode 63. We are just a couple episodes from the episode 69 extravaganza. You will definitely not want to miss what Potion Shop wears for that episode. Before we he's looking at me. Before we sign off for the episode altogether, let's just give everybody a quick second to plug their shit for the next week. Kerr, what do you got going on this week, man? You gonna play any New World, or you on that RBF grind?
Both, dude. Just I don't know, a little bit of New World, a little bit of RBF and BDO until I get pissed about the class balance. Same old, same old.
Are you coming to the war tonight?
Yeah.
Hell
Reekwater.
yeah. Yeah, the defensive Reekwater. Hope we don't get banned. Marlon, what's going on with you this week? You sticking to the New World grind?
Yeah, so I pretty much decided, despite the game's flaws, I'm going to give it at least a month of full acidness. Like, not like, I might quit this in a little bit, but like at least for the first month, regardless of what happens after that, I'm going all in on that game, on this game. So that means getting all the best gear, solving all the best ways of progressing, solving the market, having massive fucking spreadsheets that are going to blow people away. Like we're going to do it all just like it's BDO 2016. So at least for the next month or two, I'm not slowing down at all. I'll probably be streaming 6 days a week, and probably putting out some YouTube videos as well, shorter than the last one since that got fucked by the algorithm. But yeah, should be a good challenge.
Potion, how about you, man? What are you doing for content this week?
Obviously playing New World the entire time. Similar to Moreland, want to give it a solid month, and then probably going to do half BDO and half New World. Kind of going to balance that out depending on what's going on in both games.
He's coming back.
How my streams like in it. I never quit or anything like that. Never made a YouTube video. But I'm enjoying New World right now. I want to craft 600 gear score items and push a few more life skills to 200.
Even after you do half and half, are you still going to prioritize coming to Aftershock Wars?
Yeah. I mean, they're a little rough for my sleep schedule, but I'll make the ones that are good.
Because what you do on Canon Team and your queue downs and call outs for us is, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, literally integral to our success.
Well, I mean, I did run a lot of guilds in BDO.
Yeah, but none of them were successful, so I'm surprised.
Yeah, I ran one that was top 5.
I'm fucking with you, man. Dude, I tell you what, we have talked about banter on this podcast. Potion Shop TV is in. He gets the banter, dude. He gets it. He has been throwing jabs with the rest of them. He's gotten me a couple times, man. You've done a fucking great job, dude.
That life is always about improving one step at a time. Your competition is always who you were yesterday. It's never too late to become a better person.
I like that.
Dude, I think I ate at that restaurant too. That was in my fortune cookie.
So I'm going to stream as much as humanly possible. Wednesdays and Thursdays are bad for me, but every other day we got a war. It's going to be Valinaris and I taking the lead with Moreland also helping with the shot calling too. We've got an excellent team. If you have not checked out an Aftershock War for New World, you are probably missing the most entertaining part of our content, quite frankly. So we're all out.
Shockingly enough, we probably are. I think we actually are in the running for one of the strongest guilds in the world right now, as unlikely as that seemed.
We're probably top 5.
Yeah,
we're probably top 5 in the world, quite frankly. So if you're interested in watching Aftershock win again, we've got Moreland TV, we've got Kerr, we've got Potion Shop TV, we've got Tim Allen 1337, we've got Jordan TV, we've got Dank RNG, we've got Not Valinaris. Who am I missing?
Level Up Larry.
Level Up Larry is
useless, right?
Useless streams. Yep, we've got a ton of streams
once a month. Sure.
Yeah, we've got a bunch of different personalities. If you're interested in New World, you want to join us. We do have we'll call it a casual guild or a build-up guild or whatever you want. There's no expectations. If you show you prove yourself, you just want to play, you just want to help out, all that kind of stuff. Message me or discord.gg/aftershock and hit up Zabby once you get in there. And I think that's it on behalf of Potion Shop TV, Moreland TV, and my best friend Kerr. My name is Tim Allen 1337. Been an excellent time. Really appreciate everybody listening to us. Shout out to Ethereum and kind of the live updates to the drama. Appreciate all that. We are live Fridays on 3 p.m. Eastern. That is 12 p.m. Pacific. You can catch us recorded on Potion Shop's YouTube and also on Spotify. I hope everybody has an excellent week. We'll catch you next time.